The silver fire erupted from her body, just as the challenger's claws tore through the king's throat. Blood sprayed across ancient stone. The arena went silent. And Alara Vexley, the Omega they'd all called nothing, stood before 10,000 wolves with power blazing from her skin like a star going supernova. This is the story of how the most rejected wolf alive claimed a throne that was never meant for her. How she went from scraps and silence to silver and fire. How she marked a king and shattered every law written in blood. If you're watching from New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or anywhere else, drop your city in the comments below. Hit that like button, because you're about to witness the rise of a queen nobody saw coming. The bread was 3 days old and tasted like dirt, but Alara ate it anyway. She sat in the shadow of a broken cart at the edge of the Moonfall Market, her spine pressed against splintered wood, her eyes tracking every boot that passed. Nobles in their silk-lined furs, guards with silver-plated armor, merchants hawking moon charms and blessed oils to idiots with more coin than sense. None of them looked at her. They never did. Move, rat. The boot caught her shoulder before she saw it coming. Not hard enough to hurt, just enough to remind her where she belonged. Alara rolled to the side, tucking the bread against her chest as a merchant's son stepped over her without breaking stride. Fucking Omegas, he muttered to his companion. City's crawling with them during festival season. His friend laughed. At least this one knows to stay down. They disappeared into the crowd. Alara waited until they were gone before she sat back up. Her shoulder throbbed where the boot had connected, but she'd had worse. So much worse. She unwrapped the bread from the dirty cloth and took another bite, chewing slowly, making it last. Across the market square, the royal citadel rose like a blade against the winter sky. Black stone. Sharp towers. Banners snapping in the wind, each one bearing the thorn crest. A wolf's head crowned in iron thorns. The seat of King Kadric Thorn. The most powerful alpha in the realm. The wolf who hadn't shifted in 30 years. Alara looked away. Kings didn't matter to ghosts. Alara. The voice was small, weak. She turned to see Finn stumbling toward her through the crowd, his face gray beneath the grime, his breath coming in short, wet gasps. Her younger brother, 12 years old, dying. Finn, shit! She was on her feet instantly, catching him before he collapsed. His body was burning, fever-hot. She could feel his wolf beneath his skin, writhing in pain, trying to shift but unable to complete the transformation. Stuck, breaking him from the inside out. I'm okay, he wheezed. I just needed to find you. You're supposed to be resting. Her voice came out harsher than she meant. Fear did that, made her sharp when she wanted to be soft. Finn, you can't. The healer came by. His eyes met hers, and she saw the truth there before he said it. She said there's nothing more she can do, not without Moonshade Root, and that costs, I know what it costs. 50 silver marks. Might as well be 1,000,000. Finn's knees buckled. Alara caught him again, lowering him to the ground as gently as she could. His breath rattled in his chest, the sound of a wolf drowning in his own body. I'm going to fix this, she said. The words came out fierce. Absolute. You hear me? I'm going to get the medicine. You're going to be fine. Alara, you're going to be fine. She didn't know if she was trying to convince him or herself. A bell rang across the city, deep, resonant. The sound rolled through the market like thunder, and the crowd began to shift. Moving, flowing toward the Citadel gates. The Moonfall Festival was beginning. Finn grabbed her wrist. Don't do anything stupid. Me? Alara forced a smile. Never. I mean it. His grip tightened despite the fever shaking through him. If you get caught, I won't. They'll kill you. They won't see me. She pulled her hand free and pressed the last piece of bread into his palm. Get back to the shelter. Rest. I'll be back before moonrise. Alara. But she was already moving, slipping into the crowd like smoke, invisible, exactly the way she'd learned to be. The Citadel gates were open. That was the first surprise. Alara had expected guards, checkpoints, the usual hierarchy of who gets in and who gets thrown out. But the Moonfall Festival was sacred, and King Kaedric, for all his reputation as a cold, ruthless bastard, honored the old traditions. One night a year, the gates opened to everyone. Noble and common, Alpha and Omega, even Ghost. She pulled her hood lower and followed the crowd through the entrance. The courtyard inside was massive. Torches lined the walls, their flames dancing in the winter wind. Tables groaned under the weight of roasted meat and spiced wine. Musicians played near the fountain. Wolves in their finest clothes laughed and drank and danced beneath strings of silver lanterns. Alara kept to the edges, head down, shoulders hunched, every instinct screaming at her to turn around and run. But Finn's face flashed through her mind. Gray. Sweating. Dying. She kept walking. The inner citadel was less crowded. Guards stood at the entrances to the main halls, but they were watching for threats, not for a small, unremarkable Omega in a ragged cloak. She slipped past them and into a side corridor. The stone walls here were older, colder. The torchlight flickered across tapestries that depicted wolves in battle, wolves in triumph, wolves standing over the bodies of their enemies. She moved quickly, quietly, following the mental map she'd constructed from weeks of watching the citadel from the outside. The royal physician's quarters were in the east wing, third floor. If she could just get inside, find the moonshade route, get out. You lost, girl? Alara froze. The guard stepped out of the shadows to her left. Young, maybe 19. His hand rested casually on the sword at his hip, but his eyes were sharp, assessing. Her voice cracked. She swallowed and tried again. I'm looking for the courtyard. I got turned around. This area is restricted. He took a step closer. Festival's outside. You should go back. Of course, I'm sorry. His hand shot out and grabbed her arm. Hold on. Panic spiked through her chest. Her wolf, weak, fractured, barely there, whimpered inside her skull. Let me see your face. The guard's grip tightened. Hood down. Now. I was just leaving. Hood down. She met his eyes for the first time. Saw the flicker of recognition there. Not of her specifically, just of what she was. The way her scent curled in the air, weak, broken. Omega. His expression shifted, disgust mixed with something darker. Well, well. His smile was ugly. What do we have here? Please. The word tasted like ash. I made a mistake. I'll go. You'll go when I say you go. He yanked her closer, his breath hot against her face. What's an Omega doing sneaking around the king's halls? You stealing? Or maybe you're here for something else. Some alphas like slumming it during the festival. That what you're hoping for? Find yourself a noble who'll toss you a few coins? Rage flickered beneath her fear, hot and sharp. Let go of me. Or what? She didn't have an answer for that. His other hand came up to her hood, fingers closing around the fabric, and then he went rigid. The air changed, thickened. Alara felt it like a pressure drop before a storm, something massive and invisible, pressing down on the entire corridor. The guard's hand fell away from her hood. His face went pale. Sir. The word came out strangled. Alara turned. The man standing 10 feet behind her didn't look like a king. He looked like a weapon. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Dark hair cut short. His face was all hard angles and brutal lines, jaw like carved stone, eyes the color of winter ice. He wore black leather and dark steel, no crown, no ceremony. Just raw, undeniable presence. And he was staring directly at her. Release her. The voice matched the face, cold, sharp, absolute. The guard let go so fast Alara nearly stumbled. Your Majesty, I didn't realize. She was in a restricted area. I don't care. King Cadric Thorn took a step forward, then another. His eyes never left Alara's face. Leave us. Sire? Now! The guard fled. Silence dropped like a curtain. Alara's heart was trying to punch through her ribs. Every instinct told her to run, to drop her eyes, to make herself smaller, invisible. But she couldn't move, because the king was still walking toward her, slowly, each step deliberate. And his expression, something was wrong. His face had gone completely white, his pupils were blown wide, and his breathing, he wasn't breathing. 3 feet away, he stopped. They stood there in the flickering torchlight, king and ghost, alpha and omega. And then Caedric Thorn's entire body went rigid. His head snapped back. A sound tore from his throat, low, guttural, inhuman. The sound of something waking up after decades of silence. Alara felt it in her bones, in her blood, in the weak, fractured wolf that lived beneath her skin. Power. Raw. Ancient. Massive. The king's eyes rolled back. His hands clenched into fists. And when he looked at her again, his eyes weren't winter ice anymore. They were molten gold. Wolf eyes. No. The word fell from his lips like a prayer, like a curse, like the end of the world. No, not you, not... He staggered forward. Alara took a step back. Mine. The word detonated through the corridor, and Alara Vexley, who had survived by being invisible, by staying silent, by never being seen, ran. She didn't think, didn't plan, just moved. Her feet hit the stone floor in a dead sprint, hood flying back, cloak tangling around her legs. Behind her, she heard the king make another sound, something between a roar and a howl, and then the heavy thud of boots pursuing, chasing, hunting. The corridor blurred. She grabbed a corner and swung left, nearly slamming into a servant carrying linens. The woman screamed. Sheets scattered across the floor. Alara kept running. "Stop her!" The king's voice, echoing, absolute. Doors slammed open ahead. Guards poured into the hallway, weapons drawn, eyes searching. Alara threw herself through a side entrance and into a stairwell. Down. She had to go down. Get out. Get to the gates. Get to Finn. Her lungs burned. Her legs screamed. But she didn't stop. 2 flights down. 3. She burst out into another corridor, this one wider, lined with paintings of dead kings and queens, and nearly collided with a woman in silk robes. "Watch it, you..." The woman's eyes went wide. "Omega! Omega! Guards!" More shouts, more boots. The entire citadel was waking up. Alara spotted a servant's passage half hidden behind a tapestry. She dove through it, into darkness, into the smell of stone and old smoke. Her hands found the walls. She followed them blind, moving on instinct, on terror, on the absolute certainty that if she stopped, the passage opened into a storage room. Barrels, crates, a small window high on the wall. She grabbed a crate and dragged it beneath the window, climbed. Her fingers found the window ledge. The door behind her exploded inward. Caedric Thorn stood in the doorway. He wasn't running anymore, wasn't shouting. He just stood there, chest heaving, eyes blazing gold, looking at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. "Don't." His voice was raw, shaking. "Don't run from me. Stay back." Alara's voice cracked. I don't know what you think I am, but you're my mate." The words hit like a fist. "No." She shook her head violently. "No, that's not... I'm nobody. I'm nothing. You made a mistake. I haven't shifted in 30 years. He took a step into the room. "My wolf has been dead inside me for 30 years, and the moment I saw you..." His hand came up to his chest, pressed there like he was trying to hold something in. "The moment I smelled you..." Another step. He woke up. Alara's back hit the wall. "Do you feel it?" His voice dropped, softer, dangerous. "The pull. The bond. Tell me you don't feel it." She did. God's help her, she did. It was like a hook buried in her chest, tied to an invisible line, pulling her toward him with a force that made her bones ache. Wrong. This was wrong. Alphas didn't mate with broken Omegas. Kings didn't choose ghosts. "I can't." The words came out barely above a whisper. "I can't be what you think I am." "You already are." "I can't." The shout tore from her throat. "I can't even shift. I'm weak. I'm broken. Her voice cracked. "I'm nothing. And you're a king, so whatever you think you felt, whatever your wolf thinks it wants, you're wrong. You have to be wrong." Silence. Caedric stared at her, and for just a moment something flickered across his face, something that looked almost like pain. "What's your name?" The question threw her. "What?" "Your name. Tell me your name." "Why does it matter?" "Tell me." "Alara." She spat it like a weapon. "Alara Vexley. and I'm nobody you should waste your time on. Alara. He said it slowly, testing it, and something in his expression shifted, settled. I'm going to make you a deal, Alara Vexley. I don't want... You came here for a reason. His eyes narrowed. You weren't just wandering. You needed something. What was it? She said nothing. Tell me what you need and I'll give it to you. Just like that? Just like that. And in exchange, her voice was bitter. What do you want? Because alphas like you don't give omegas like me anything without a price. His jaw tightened. I want you to stay. 3 days. In the palace. Let me prove that this is real. And if I refuse, then you leave. His voice was flat, final. I won't stop you, won't chase you. You walk out of here and you never see me again. It should have been an easy choice. It should have been obvious. But Finn's face flashed through her mind. Gray, dying. My brother is sick. The words came out hard, sharp. He needs moonshade root. 50 silver marks worth. I can't pay for it. I came here to steal it. She waited for the anger, the disgust, the inevitable you're under arrest. Instead, Kadrick nodded once. Done. What? Your brother gets the medicine, tonight, as much as he needs. And you stay for 3 days. You don't even know if I'm telling the truth. Are you lying? No. Then we have a deal. Alara stared at him. At this impossible, terrifying king who'd just offered to save her brother's life in exchange for 3 days of her time. It was insane. It was a trap. It had to be. But Finn was dying. 3 days, she said quietly. And then I leave. No matter what. 3 days. And you save my brother first, before I agree to anything. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Smart. I'm not stupid. No. His eyes met hers, held. You're not. He turned toward the door, stopped, looked back. Alara? What? You're wrong about one thing. What's that? You're not nothing. His voice was quiet, absolute. You never were. Then he was gone, and Alara Vexley, the ghost, the Omega, the girl who'd learned to survive by being invisible, stood alone in a storage room in a king's palace, wondering what the hell she'd just agreed to. The room they gave her was bigger than any place she'd ever lived. Stone walls, a massive bed with actual sheets, a fireplace with real wood burning in it, a window that overlooked the city below where lights sparkled like fallen stars. Alara stood in the center of it all and tried not to scream. A knock at the door. She spun, heart racing, but it wasn't the king. It was a woman, older, severe-looking, gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore the simple dark dress of palace staff, and her expression was the definition of unimpressed. I'm Maris, her voice matched her face. Head of household. The king has instructed me to see to your needs while you're here. I don't need a... You'll bathe. You'll eat. You'll be given appropriate clothing. Maris's eyes raked over Alara's ragged cloak and dirty skin with obvious distaste. You smell like the gutter, girl. We'll fix that first. Heat flooded Alara's face. I didn't ask to be here. No, you asked to steal from here. The king was remarkably generous not to have you whipped for it. He made a deal. The king makes many deals. Few of them end well for Omegas. Maris stepped aside and gestured toward the hallway. The baths are this way. Move. Alara didn't move. My brother, the medicine. I need to know. Already handled. The royal physician delivered moonshade root to the east shelter an hour ago. Your brother is receiving treatment as we speak. The relief nearly buckled her knees. Is he... will he... He'll live. If he survives the night, he'll make a full recovery. Maris's expression softened just slightly. The king keeps his word. Now. Bath. Before I drag you there myself. The bath was torture. Hot water. Actual soap. Hands. Servants' hands. Scrubbing the dirt and grime from her skin until she felt raw. They washed her hair 3 times. Cut her nails. Wrapped her in a robe so soft it felt like sin. When they were done, Alara barely recognized herself in the mirror. Clean. That was the first shock. She'd been dirty for so long she'd forgotten what her actual skin looked like, pale, scattered with faint scars. And her hair, brown, not the gray-black she'd thought, fell past her shoulders in damp waves. "Better," Maris said from the doorway. "You almost look presentable." "I look like someone else." "Good. Maybe this version won't get herself killed." They dressed her in a simple gray dress, soft fabric, no embroidery, nothing that would draw attention. Omega appropriate, Maris called it. Ilara didn't argue. She was too tired. Food came next: bread, cheese, roasted meat, more food than she'd seen in a month. She ate slowly, forcing herself not to inhale it, not to make herself sick. The servants watched her with expressions ranging from pity to disgust. She ignored them all. When she was finally alone, she walked to the window and looked out at the city. Somewhere down there, Finn was breathing easier, getting stronger, living. "Worth it," she whispered to her reflection. 3 days is worth it. Even if it was a lie, she needed to believe it. The knock came just before midnight. Ilara opened the door expecting Maris. She found the king instead. He'd changed clothes. Black shirt, dark pants, no armor, no weapons. He looked almost normal, except for his eyes. Those wolf gold eyes that tracked her every movement like a predator watching prey. "We need to talk." His voice was calm, controlled, nothing like the raw desperation from earlier. "About what?" "About what happens next." "I stay 3 days, then I leave. That's what happens next." "It's more complicated than that." He stepped into the room without asking permission. Ilara backed up instinctively. "The bond, what we are to each other, it's not something we can ignore." "I can ignore anything if I try hard enough." "You feel it right now, don't you? The pull, like something inside you is trying to reach for me." She did. Gods, she did. And she hated it. "That doesn't mean anything." "It means everything." He moved closer, not threatening, just present, consuming all the air in the room. "Mates are rare, Ilara. Sacred. When a wolf finds their true mate, the bond is absolute. Denying it, fighting it. It's like trying to fight gravity." "Then I'll learn to fly." His lips twitched, almost a smile. "Stubborn. Survival skill." "I noticed." He stopped a few feet away, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. "I need you to understand something. Tomorrow, the court will learn about you, about us, and they won't react well." "Why not?" "Because you're an Omega, because I'm the king, because our union breaks about 1,000 years of tradition and hierarchy." "Then don't tell them." "I don't have a choice. The bond—" He ran a hand through his hair, frustration bleeding into his voice. "My wolf is awake for the first time in 3 decades. Every wolf in the kingdom will feel it. They'll know something changed, and when they find out you're the cause, they'll blame me. They'll try to remove you." The words hung in the air like a threat. "Then let them." Ilara lifted her chin. "I've survived worse than angry nobles." "Have you survived a council that wants you dead? A court that will see you as a threat to the stability of the realm? Alphas who will challenge me for the right to claim you as their own? What? Unmated Omegas are considered available. If I don't mark you, if we don't complete the bond, other Alphas can invoke the old laws. Challenge me. Winner takes the mate." Horror crawled up her spine. "That's barbaric." "That's tradition." His voice was grim. "And tradition is law. So mark me." The words came out before she could stop them. "Complete the bond. Problem solved." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because you don't want me to." His eyes met hers, fierce, honest. "And I won't force this. I won't force you. Not for tradition, not for politics, not for anything." The sincerity in his voice stole her breath. "I don't understand you," she said quietly. "You're the king. You could just take what you want. Nobody would stop you." "I would stop me." He took a step back, creating distance. 3 days, Ilara. That's what we agreed. 3 days for you to see that this is real, that we're real. And if you still want to leave after that—" His jaw tightened. "Then I'll let you go." "And the challenges? The court?" "I'll handle them." "How?" by being very, very convincing. The smile he gave her was sharp, dangerous. I didn't become king by playing nice. He turned toward the door. Caedric. He stopped, looked back, and she saw the surprise flicker across his face, probably at hearing his name instead of his title. Why me? She asked. Out of every wolf in the realm, why would fate choose me? For a long moment he didn't answer, then, maybe fate knew you were strong enough to handle me. I'm not strong. You broke into a king's palace to steal medicine for your brother. You ran from me, from an alpha in full hunt mode, and almost escaped. And you're standing here now, looking me in the eye, refusing to back down, even though every instinct in your body is screaming at you to submit. His voice softened. You're stronger than you know, Ilara Vexley. Or maybe I'm just too stupid to know when I'm beaten. Maybe. That almost smile again. I guess we'll find out. He left. The door closed. And Ilara stood alone in her borrowed room, in her borrowed clothes, in a palace that wasn't hers, wondering how 3 days had suddenly started to feel like a lifetime. Quote, she didn't sleep, couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt it. The bond, like a rope tied around her ribs, pulling tight, trying to drag her through the walls toward wherever the king was sleeping. It was maddening. Around 3 in the morning, she gave up and went to the window. The city below was dark except for scattered lights. Guard posts, late-night taverns. Somewhere down there, Finn was breathing easy. Healing. 3 days. She could survive 3 days. A sound made her turn. For a second, she thought it was another knock. But no. It was coming from inside the room, from the walls themselves. Scratching. Ilara's heart kicked. Hello? The scratching stopped, then started again, louder. She followed the sound to the fireplace. The flames had died down to embers, but in the dim light she could see something moving in the stonework. A gap. A loose brick. The scratching came from behind it. Okay, she whispered. This is either really stupid or really... The brick fell inward. A piece of paper slid through the gap and landed on the hearth. Ilara stared at it, picked it up, unfolded it. 5 words, written in dark ink. The king will destroy you. Her blood went cold. She looked at the gap in the wall. Who are you? No answer. Tell me who you are. Silence. Ilara crumpled the paper in her fist, rage and fear warring in her chest. Someone was watching. Someone knew she was here, and they wanted her gone. Or dead. She shoved the brick back into place and stepped away from the fireplace, her mind racing. 3 days. Suddenly it felt like an eternity, and somewhere in the darkness of the palace, something or someone was waiting for her to fail. But then, morning came with bells. Deep, resonant, the sound that meant court was in session. Maris appeared at Ilara's door before the final bell faded. You're wanted in the throne room, now. Why? Because the king commands it. Move. Ilara's stomach dropped. I thought I had 3 days. You do, but the court has questions, and the king has decided you'll answer them. Maris's expression was grim. Fair warning, girl, they're going to eat you alive. Comforting. I don't deal in comfort. I deal in truth. Maris gestured toward the hallway. And the truth is, you're about to walk into a room full of wolves who see you as a threat. So keep your head down, your mouth shut, and maybe you'll survive the morning. Ilara followed her through the palace, down corridors lined with guards, past nobles who stopped and stared, their whispers following her like ghosts. Omega, the king's pet. Did you see her? She's nothing. The throne room doors open, and Ilara Vexley stepped into hell. The room was massive, vaulted ceilings, stone columns carved with wolves and thorns. And at the far end, on a raised platform, sat the throne itself, black iron shaped like a crown of thorns, brutal and unforgiving. King Caedric Thorn sat in it like he'd been born there. But he wasn't alone. The room was packed with nobles. Alphas in fine clothes, betas with calculating eyes. And at the front, standing in a semicircle before the throne, were 5 figures who radiated power like heat from a forge. The royal council. Ilara's legs wanted to give out. She forced them to hold. Approach. Kedrick's voice echoed through the chamber. She walked forward. Each step felt like walking through water. Every eye in the room tracked her movement, judging, dissecting. She stopped 10 feet from the throne. Kneel. The command came from one of the council members, a man with silver hair and a face like carved granite. Alara's spine went rigid. No. Silence crashed through the room. The silver-haired man's eyes narrowed. You dare refuse? She doesn't kneel. Kedrick's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Not to them, not to anyone. Your Majesty. Another council member stepped forward. A woman this time, cold eyes, colder smile. With respect, this Omega stands before your court. Protocol demands, protocol can burn. Kedrick leaned forward slightly. She's my mate. That makes her your future queen, and queens don't kneel. The throne room erupted. Voices, shouting, arguing, demanding. Alara stood frozen in the center of the storm, her heart trying to punch through her ribs. Order! The king's voice detonated through the chamber. Instant silence. He rose from the throne, descended the steps, and when he reached Alara, he turned to face the council. I called you here to witness the truth, not to debate it. His voice was ice, absolute. This woman is my mate. The bond is real, and any challenge to that is a challenge to me. The silver-haired man stepped forward. Your Majesty, we understand the significance of a mate bond, but this, his gesture toward Alara was dismissive. An Omega? A common street wolf with no pack, no lineage, no strength? The realm will never accept her. Then the realm will learn. She cannot even shift. The woman's voice was sharp, cutting. How can a wolf who cannot shift be queen? How can she lead? How can she— Enough! Kedrick's hand found Alara's. The contact sent a jolt through her entire body, electric, overwhelming, right. 3 days. That's all I'm asking. 3 days for the bond to settle, for her to adjust. And then what? The silver-haired man's smile was cruel. You'll mark her? Bind yourself to weakness? Your Majesty, the kingdom deserves better, deserves stronger. Careful, Aldrich. The king's voice dropped. Dangerous. You're dangerously close to treason. I'm close to speaking truth. Aldrich's eyes shifted to Alara. Tell us, Omega, what makes you worthy of a king? All eyes turned to her. Alara's throat closed. I don't— Speak up. We can't hear you. I said I don't think I'm worthy. The words came out louder, harder. I never asked for this. I never wanted this. I came here to save my brother, that's all. And yet here you stand, in our court, claiming our king. I'm not claiming anything. Then renounce the bond. Aldrich's smile widened. Right here, right now. Walk away. Prove you're not here for power or status. Prove you're better than the other Omega whores who've tried to sink their claws into royalty. Rage burned through her fear, hot, blinding. Go to hell. The throne room went silent. Aldrich's smile vanished. What did you just— You want me to prove I'm not after power? Alara took a step forward. Fine. I don't want your throne. I don't want your politics. I don't want any of this. But I'm also not going to stand here and let you talk to me like I'm garbage. Another step. I've been treated like nothing my entire life. By people like you. People who think status and bloodlines make them better than everyone else. And you know what I learned? She was right in front of him now, close enough to see the surprise flicker across his face. People like you are just bullies with better clothes. Kedrick's hand tightened around hers. Aldrich's face went purple. You insolent— Aldrich? The king's voice was soft, deadly. Stand down. Your Majesty, this is unacceptable. She insulted me, insulted the council. We cannot— She insulted you because you insulted her first. And frankly, she was more polite about it than I would have been. Kedrick's eyes swept the room. Anyone else want to test my patience? Silence. Good. Then we're done here. Alara stays, the bond remains, and in 3 days I'll present her formally as my chosen mate. He looked at Aldrich. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me, personally. The threat hung in the air. Slowly, the council members bowed. Stiff, reluctant, but they bowed. Kedrick turned to Alara. Come on, let's get you out of here. He led her from the throne room, his hand still wrapped around hers, the bond humming between them like a live wire. And behind them, Alara heard the whispers start again. She won't last 3 days. The council will find a way. She's already dead. Alara squeezed Kaedric's hand and wondered if they were right. They ended up in a garden, high walls, ancient trees, a fountain shaped like a wolf howling at the moon. The sound of water covered the sounds from the palace beyond. Kaedric let go of her hand, stepped back, ran both hands through his hair. I'm sorry. His voice was rough. They had no right to speak to you like that. They had every right. I'm nobody. They're the council. Alara sank onto a stone bench, her legs finally giving out. You shouldn't have defended me. Like hell I shouldn't. It just makes things worse. They already hate me. Now they think I've got you wrapped around my finger. Do you? She looked up at him. What? Do you have me wrapped around your finger? His eyes met hers. Wolf gold. Intense. Because from where I'm standing, that's exactly what it feels like. That's the bond talking. Maybe. He sat down beside her. Not close enough to touch, but close enough that she felt his presence like heat from a fire. Or maybe it's just you. You don't know me. I know you stood up to Aldrich. Most wolves with twice your strength wouldn't do that. Most wolves aren't stupid enough to pick a fight with the council. Smart and stupid aren't the same thing. He leaned back against the bench. Tell me about your brother. The shift in topic caught her off guard. Why? Because he matters to you. And I want to know what matters to you. Alara was quiet for a long moment, then, his name is Finn. He's 12. And he's the only family I have left. Your parents? Dead. Mine died when I was 8. Finn's mom, she wasn't my real mother. She died in childbirth. Our father, she swallowed. He didn't handle it well. Started drinking. Got into debt with the wrong people. They killed him when I was 14, left me and Finn with nothing. I'm sorry. Don't be. We survived. That's more than most Omegas can say. How? By being invisible. By taking whatever work nobody else wanted. By stealing when we had to. She looked at him. I'm not ashamed of it. I did what I had to do to keep us alive. I'm not judging you. Aren't you? Your council sure did. My council are assholes. The bluntness startled a laugh out of her. I'm serious. Half of them care more about tradition than people. The other half care about power. Very few of them actually give a damn about the kingdom. Then why keep them? Because they represent the major packs. Because removing them would start a civil war. Because sometimes being king means working with people you'd rather throw off a cliff. He smiled, grim. Politics. Sounds miserable. It is. He was quiet for a moment. My wolf died because of politics. Alara turned to face him fully. What? 30 years ago I was different, younger, more... He searched for the word. More human. I had a younger sister, Liana. She was everything good about our family. Kind, gentle, the kingdom loved her. Past tense. What happened? Assassination. Political rivals who thought removing her would weaken me. Make me more... pliable. His voice went flat. Cold. They were wrong, but it didn't matter. She was still dead, and my wolf... He touched his chest. My wolf died with her. Just... shut down. Went dormant. And for 30 years, I've ruled as half of what I should be. Until last night. Until you. His eyes met hers. The moment I saw you, smelled you, my wolf came back like he'd never been gone. Fully awake. Fully aware. And the first thing he did was claim you. I don't understand why. Neither do I, but I'm not going to fight it. Not anymore. They sat in silence. The fountain burbled. Birds sang in the trees. And between them, the bond pulled tight. 3 days, Alara said finally. After that, I'm gone. You know that, right? I know that's what you think will happen. It's what will happen. We'll see. Before she could respond, a guard appeared at the garden entrance. Your Majesty, urgent news. Kadric stood. What is it? The council has called for a trial of worth. The king went very still. They what? Lord Aldrich invoked the old law. He's challenging the bond, claiming the Omega is unworthy of a royal mate, and under tradition, the mate must prove themselves. Kadric's voice was ice. Yes, sire. Alara stood slowly. What does that mean? Kadric turned to her, and for the first time since she'd met him, she saw something like fear in his eyes. It means, he said quietly, you have to fight. Fight who? A champion of the council's choosing, in the arena, before the entire court. His jaw was tight. And if you lose, I die? Worse. You're declared unworthy, the bond is nullified, and you're exiled from the kingdom. The words hit like stones. When? Tomorrow night. Full moon. Less than 24 hours. Alara's knees wanted to buckle, but she locked them, forced herself to stay standing. Can I refuse? You can. But then the council will consider it an admission of unworthiness. They'll push for exile anyway. So I'm damned either way. No. He stepped closer. You have a choice. Fight and win. Prove them wrong. I can't even shift, Kadric. How am I supposed to fight a champion? I don't know. The admission was raw, painful. But I'll be there. Every second. And if they try anything, if the fight becomes unfair, I'll end it myself. That'll start a war. Then we'll have a war. She stared at him, at this impossible king who was ready to burn his kingdom for her. You're insane. Probably. I'm going to lose. Not if I can help it. Kadric. He grabbed her shoulders, gentle but firm. Listen to me. You're stronger than you think, braver than you know, and you have one advantage they don't expect. What's that? You don't fight like a wolf. You fight like someone who has nothing left to lose. His eyes blazed. Use that! The guard cleared his throat. Sire, the council is waiting for your response. Kadric didn't look away from Alara. Tell them she accepts. But tell them she accepts. The guard fled. Alara pulled free of his grip. You just signed my death warrant. No, I gave you a chance to show them what I already know. And what's that? That you're not some weak, broken Omega they can dismiss. His voice dropped. You're a survivor, a fighter, and tomorrow night, you're going to prove it. He left her standing in the garden, alone. With less than a day to prepare for a fight she couldn't win, and somewhere in the palace, someone was laughing. The rest of the day blurred. Maris came and went, bringing food Alara couldn't eat. Guards stationed themselves outside her door, and through the window she could see workers in the courtyard below setting up the arena. Torches, stands for spectators, a fighting circle marked in white stone, her execution ground. Around sunset, a knock came at her door. I'm not hungry, she called. The door opened anyway, but it wasn't Maris. It was a man she'd never seen before. Young, maybe mid-20s, dark hair, lean build. He wore training leathers, and a sword hung at his hip. Who are you? Alara's hand found the knife she'd stolen from her dinner tray. Not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. Relax. I'm not here to hurt you. He held up both hands. Name's Rowan. I'm the king's, well, let's call me his problem solver. And what problem are you here to solve? Keeping you alive tomorrow night. He stepped into the room and closed the door. The king sent me. Wants me to train you. In one night? Better than nothing. He gestured to her knife. You know how to use that? Pointy end goes in the other person. Cute, wrong, but cute. He drew his own blade, longer, sharper, clearly well used. Lesson 1. A knife fight isn't about strength. It's about speed and placement. You're small. That's an advantage. Use it. I appreciate the thought, but no buts. You want to survive? You train. Now, move those chairs out of the way. We're doing this. For a moment, Alara just stared at him. Then she put down her stolen knife and started moving furniture. For the next 4 hours, Rowan beat the hell out of her. Not literally, mostly, but close enough. He taught her how to dodge, how to read an opponent's movement, how to turn defense into offense, how to use her size as a weapon instead of a weakness. By midnight, she was covered in bruises and sweat, gasping for air. "Again," Rowan said. "I can't. Again." She lunged. He sidestepped, grabbed her wrist, twisted, and she dropped low, spun, and swept his legs out from under him. He hit the ground hard. Silence. Then, "Fucking hell, you actually landed it." Alara was too shocked to respond. Rowan sat up, rubbing his head, grinning. "Not bad, Omega. Not bad at all. I got lucky. Luck is just preparation meeting opportunity, and you just proved you can prepare." He stood and offered her his hand. "Tomorrow night, you use everything I taught you. Stay low, stay fast, and whatever happens, don't let them see you scared." "I'm terrified." "Good. Fear keeps you sharp." He headed for the door, stopped, looked back. "For what it's worth, I think you can win this." "Why?" "Because I've seen a lot of fighters, and the ones who win aren't the strongest or the fastest." His smile was grim. "They're the ones who refuse to stay down." Then he was gone, and Alara collapsed onto her bed, every muscle screaming, her mind spinning. Tomorrow night she would step into that arena. Tomorrow night she would fight. And tomorrow night she would either prove herself worthy or lose everything, including her life. She couldn't sleep. Again. The bond pulled at her chest like a living thing, restless, demanding. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt Kaedric somewhere in the palace, awake, pacing, worrying about her. Around 3 in the morning, she gave up and went to the window. The arena stood empty below, waiting. A sound made her turn, scratching. From the fireplace, her heart kicked. She crossed the room slowly. The brick was already loose. Someone had been here. Again. The paper slid through. She grabbed it, unfolded it. They're going to cheat. The champion is poisoned, silver in his claws. One cut and you're dead. Ice flooded her veins. "Who are you?" she hissed at the wall. "Why are you helping me?" No answer, just silence. And the knowledge that tomorrow's fight was rigged, that the council wanted her dead, that no matter what she did, she was walking into a trap. Alara crumpled the paper and threw it into the fire, watched it burn, and made a decision. If they were going to kill her anyway, she'd make damn sure they remembered her name. Dawn came too fast. Alara stood at her window watching the sky bleed from black to gray to pale gold, and every second that passed felt like a countdown to her execution. The note from last night was ash in the fireplace, but the words were burned into her brain, silver in his claws. One cut and you're dead. A trap. The whole thing was a trap, and she was walking into it anyway. The door opened without a knock. Maris entered carrying a bundle of dark fabric. Her expression was grim. "Time to get ready." "For what? My funeral?" "For the trial." Maris laid the bundle on the bed. "Fighting leathers. The king ordered them made overnight. They won't stop claws, but they'll give you some protection." Alara touched the leather, soft, well-made, expensive. "He shouldn't have." "He did, and you'll wear them, unless you'd prefer to fight naked." "Would that help?" "It would distract half the court." "But no." Maris's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Get dressed. The trial starts at sundown. You have 12 hours. "To do what? Pray?" "To prepare. Rowan will be back for more training. The king wants to see you before the fight. And you need to eat. You'll need your strength." Alara looked at the leathers. At Maris. At the impossible situation she'd stumbled into. "I can't win this." "Maybe not. But you can make them remember you tried." Maris headed for the door. Stopped. "For what it's worth. I've worked in this palace for 30 years, seen a dozen Omegas try to claw their way into power. You're the first one who didn't ask for it, who actually seems to hate being here." "Is that supposed to make me feel better?" "It's supposed to make you fight harder." Maris's eyes were sharp. "Because if you lose tonight, the king loses too, and this kingdom can't afford that." She left. Alara stared at the fighting leathers for a long time. Then she got dressed. Rowan arrived an hour later with breakfast and fresh bruises. "Rough morning?" Alara asked, eyeing the cut on his jaw. "Rough conversation with the king. He set the food down. He wanted to cancel the trial, fight Aldrich himself. I had to physically stop him from storming the council chambers. And he hit you for it? No, I hit the wall when he threw me into it. Rowan grinned. Your mate's got a temper. He's not my mate. Tell that to the bond. He gestured to her chest. You feel it right now, don't you? Pulling, aching, like something's trying to claw its way out of your ribs. She did. Worse every hour. It doesn't matter what I feel. After tonight, you're either going to be standing in that arena victorious or you're going to be dead. So let's focus on option 1. He drew his practice blade. We're working on defense today. Specifically, poisoned attacks. Elar's blood went cold. What? You heard me. Someone slipped me information last night. Anonymous. Said the champion's using silver-laced claws. Illegal as hell, but hard to prove without examining him before the fight. Rowan's expression was dark. So we're going to practice like every attack can kill you. Because it can. That's comforting. Comfort gets you killed. Paranoia keeps you breathing. For the next 3 hours, he drilled her relentlessly. How to dodge without getting cornered. How to read feints. How to turn an opponent's strength against them. By midday, her muscles screamed and her lungs burned. Again, Rowan said. I can't. He lunged without warning. She dropped, rolled, came up with her training knife aimed at his throat. He froze. Better. His smile was fierce. You're learning. I'm dying. Same thing in here. He lowered his blade. But out there in the arena, you do exactly what you just did. Stay low, stay fast, and the second you see an opening, take it. No. His eyes were hard. You don't take it. You own it. You hit so hard they don't get back up. Understand? She nodded. Say it. I understand. Louder. I understand. Good. He sheathed his blade. The king wants to see you. Don't keep him waiting. And Alara? Yeah? Don't let him talk you out of this. He's going to try. He's going to offer to stop it, to fight in your place, to burn the whole damn kingdom down if it means keeping you safe. Rowan's voice softened. But that's not what you need. What you need is to prove, to him and to yourself, that you can stand on your own. What if I can't? Then you fall, but you fall fighting. She found Cadric in the war room. Maps covered the table. Reports scattered across chairs. He stood at the window, arms braced against the frame, his whole body radiating tension. You're going to crack the stone if you grip any harder, Alara said from the doorway. He turned, and the look on his face stole her breath, raw, desperate, like a man watching something precious slip through his fingers. Don't fight tonight. Straight to the point. No preamble. I have to. No, you don't. He crossed the room in 3 strides. Stopped just short of touching her. I'll challenge Aldrich. Invoke my right as king. The council can't refuse. And then what? You fight their champion, you win, and they just accept it? They'll have no choice. They'll call it tyranny. They'll say you're protecting a weak Omega. They'll use it to undermine you for years. Alara shook her head. I won't let you destroy your kingdom for me. Then what do you call what I'm about to do if you die tonight? The question hung between them like a blade. Cadric, I can't lose you. The words came out raw, broken. I know we've only known each other 2 days. I know you don't feel what I feel, not fully. But my wolf... His hand came up to his chest. My wolf is awake because of you, and if you die, he dies. And I don't know if I survive that twice. You will. You're strong. I'm not strong enough for this. He finally closed the distance, grabbed her shoulders. Not rough, but firm. Anchoring. Let me stop this, please. I can't. Why not? Because I need to know. The admission came out quieter than she intended. I need to know if I'm strong enough, if I can be more than what everyone's always told me I am. And if you fight for me tonight, I'll never know. I'll just be the Omega who hid behind her king. His jaw tightened. You're not hiding. Then let me prove it. They stood there, close enough that she could feel his breath, see the gold flickering in his eyes, feel the bond pulling so hard it physically hurt. If something happens, he said quietly, if the fight goes wrong, it won't. If it does, his voice turned to steel. I'm ending it. Council be damned. Politics be damned. I'm not watching you die for their entertainment. Even if it starts a war, especially if it starts a war. Before she could respond, he pulled her into his arms. Not a claiming, not possession, just holding, like she was something fragile he was terrified of breaking. The bond roared to life. Heat, power, connection. It flooded through her system like wildfire, and for one perfect second she felt what he felt, the fear, the desperation, the absolute certainty that she was his and losing her would destroy him. She should have pushed away, should have maintained distance. Instead, she let herself lean into it, just for a moment, just long enough to pretend this could be real. Then she stepped back. I should go. Prepare. Alara. Don't. She held up a hand. Don't make this harder than it already is. I'm trying to make it easier. You can't, not this time. She moved toward the door, stopped, looked back. But thank you for trying. Wait. She paused. He crossed to the table, picked up something small, metallic, walked back and pressed it into her hand. A ring. Simple silver band, worn smooth, ancient. It was my sister's, he said quietly. She wore it every day. Said it brought her luck. Kedrick, I can't. You can, and you will. His hand closed over hers, trapping the ring between their palms. Wear it tonight. And when you win, when, not if, you give it back to me. Deal? Her throat tightened. Deal. She slipped the ring onto her finger and walked out before she did something stupid, like stay. The afternoon crawled. Alara tried to eat, managed 3 bites before her stomach rebelled, tried to rest, gave up after 10 minutes of staring at the ceiling, tried to meditate like Rowan suggested, ended up pacing her room like a caged animal. The scratching came at 4. She almost ignored it, but curiosity won. The brick fell away. Another note. The champion is Gareth Stone. Beta, former pit fighter, killed 17 opponents. Aldrich owns his debt. If he wins tonight, he's free. If he loses, his family dies. He won't hold back. Alara crumpled the paper. Whoever her anonymous helper was, they had access to serious information, council secrets, financial records, details that shouldn't exist outside locked rooms. Who are you? She whispered to the wall. And why do you care if I live or die? Silence. Always silence. She fed the paper to the fire and watched it burn. A pit fighter who couldn't afford to lose. Silver-laced claws. And a council that wanted her dead. She was so completely fucked. Pit. Sunset came like an execution bell. Maris arrived to escort her down. The palace hallways were empty. Everyone was already at the arena, waiting, watching. Any last advice? Alara asked as they walked. Don't die. Helpful. I'm serious. Don't give them the satisfaction. Maris's voice was harder than usual. And if you do win, when you win, don't show mercy. They won't give you any. They reached the arena entrance. The sound hit first. Thousands of voices. Cheering, chanting, bloodthirsty. Then the smell. Sweat. Fear. Old blood soaked into stone. Alara's stomach rolled. This is it, Maris said. You ready? No? Good. Means you're smart. Maris stepped aside. Go show them what an Omega can do. Alara stepped through the archway. The arena exploded. The fighting circle was exactly as she'd seen from her window. White stone marking the boundary, torches burning at intervals, and surrounding it, rising in tiers, thousands of wolves, nobles in their finest, commons pressed shoulder to shoulder, all of them screaming. At the far end, elevated on a platform, sat the council. 5 figures in ceremonial robes. Aldrich in the center, his smile sharp as broken glass. And beside them, standing alone, was Kedrick. He wasn't sitting, wasn't pretending this was just another trial. He stood like a king preparing for war, arms crossed, expression carved from ice. His eyes found hers across the arena and held. The bond pulled so hard she almost stumbled. A horn blew. Silence crashed through the arena. Aldrich stood. Let the trial of worth begin. His voice echoed across stone. The Omega called Ilara Vexley has been challenged. The council has named a champion to test her worthiness as mate to our king. The rules are simple. Fight until one yields, one dies, or one is thrown from the circle. His smile widened. There are no other rules. Translation: anything goes. Should the Omega prove victorious, her place at the king's side is secured. Should she fall, he spread his hands. The bond is nullified. She is exiled, and the king is free to choose a more suitable mate. Fuck you, Aldrich. Kadrick's voice cut across the arena. Not loud, but absolute. Just bring out your champion so we can get this over with. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Aldrich's smile never wavered. As you wish, Your Majesty. A gate opened on the opposite side of the arena, and Gareth Stone stepped into the light. The man was a monster, easily 6.5 feet tall, muscles like carved granite, scars crisscrossing his bare chest and arms. His eyes were dead, empty, the eyes of someone who'd killed so many times it didn't register anymore. And his hands ended in claws, long, curved, metallic sheen, silver. The crowd roared. Gareth didn't acknowledge them, didn't acknowledge anyone. He just walked to the center of the circle and waited. Ilara forced her legs to move. 1 step, 2. The distance between her and Gareth shrank. 10 feet, 5. She stopped at the edge of the circle. Up close, he was even bigger. She barely came up to his chest. I'm sorry, he said quietly. So quiet only she could hear. I have no choice. I know. I'll make it quick. Don't do me any favors. His eyes flickered, almost respect. The horn blew again. Fight. Gareth moved like lightning. His fist came at her face. She dropped, rolled left, came up 5 feet away. The crowd screamed. He pursued, not rushing, methodical, cutting off angles. She backpedaled. Dodge, weave, stay out of range. His claws whistled past her throat, missed by inches. Stand still, he growled. No. She ducked under another swing, used his momentum to slip past, put the center of the circle between them, breathing hard already. He wasn't even winded. This wasn't going to work. She couldn't just dodge forever. Eventually she'd tire, slip, and those silver claws would find flesh. She needed a strategy. Gareth charged. No warning, no tells, just raw speed. Ilara threw herself sideways. His shoulder clipped her anyway. She hit the ground hard, ribs screaming, rolled. His claws gouged stone where her head had been a second before. She scrambled up, blood on her lip. Probably bit her tongue. First blood, Aldrich called out. To the champion! The crowd roared. Ilara spat red. That doesn't count. Gareth came again. This time she was ready. She used his size against him, stayed low, stayed inside his reach where the big swings couldn't land. Her training knife found his ribs, not deep, just enough to sting. He grunted, grabbed for her. She was already gone. First blood to the Omega, someone shouted. The crowd's energy shifted, confused, excited. Gareth's expression didn't change. You're fast, but you can't win. Watch me. They circled. Ilara's mind raced. She'd landed a hit, proved she could touch him, but that wasn't enough. She needed to end this, fast, before her luck ran out, before that silver found her skin. Gareth feinted left. She read it, dodged right. His other hand was waiting, claws raked across her shoulder. Pain exploded white-hot through her system. She screamed, stumbled back, looked down. 4 parallel cuts, deep, bleeding, and already turning black at the edges. Poison. The crowd went silent. Kadrick's roar shattered the quiet. Stop the fight. The trial continues, Aldrich said calmly, until one yields or falls. She's poisoned, you bastard. Prove it. I'll prove it by tearing your throat out. Kadrick. Ilara's voice cut through his rage. Don't. He froze. She looked up at him, at her king, her mate, the man who'd given her his sister's ring and asked her to come back. Don't, she said again, quieter. I'm okay. A lie. The poison was spreading. She could feel it crawling through her veins like ice. Her shoulder was going numb, but she was still standing. "Finish it," Gareth said behind her. Not cruel, just tired. "You can't win now. Yield. Save yourself the pain." Alara turned to face him. Her vision swam. Her knees wanted to buckle. She locked them. "No. The poison will kill you in minutes. Then you better hurry up." Something flickered in his dead eyes. "You're brave. Stupid, but brave." "I get that a lot." He came at her again, slower this time, because he knew he'd won, knew she was dying on her feet. She dodged, barely. Her left arm was useless now, hanging limp. The poison had reached her chest. Her breathing came in gasps. Gareth's claws found her side. She went down, hit the stone hard enough to see stars. Blood pooled beneath her. The crowd was screaming, or maybe that was just the roaring in her ears. Gareth stood over her. "Yield." "No. You're dying." "Still no." "Why?" Good question. Why was she doing this? Why was she bleeding out on cold stone for a bond she didn't ask for, a king she barely knew, a court that hated her? Ben's face flashed through her mind. Alive. Breathing. Safe. Because someone had to fight back. Someone had to prove that Omegas weren't just victims, weren't just ghosts. "Because fuck you," she whispered. "That's why." She grabbed his ankle. He wasn't expecting it. Wasn't expecting the dying Omega to still have any fight left. She yanked. He stumbled. She drove her training knife into the back of his knee. He roared, dropped. She rolled away. Somehow got to her feet. The world tilted. Gareth was down, bleeding, angry. She was dying. They stared at each other across 5 feet of blood-soaked stone. "Yield," she said. Coughed, blood on her lips. "Please, just yield." "I can't. My family will die if you kill me. You think Caedric will let them live after this?" Gareth's eyes flicked to the king. Caedric looked like murder given form. Veins standing out on his neck. Hands clenched so hard his knuckles were white. "He won't hurt them," Alara said. Her vision was going dark at the edges. "I promise, just yield. End this." "You can't promise that." "Yes, I can." She swayed, nearly fell. "I'm about to be queen, aren't I? So I'm promising. Your family lives. Your debt is paid. Just yield." Gareth was quiet for a long moment. Then, "You really think you can keep that promise?" "I don't break my word." He looked at her, at this dying Omega who'd somehow cut him twice, who was still standing when she should have been dead, and something in his expression shifted. "I yield." The words fell like stones. Silence, then chaos. The crowd exploded, half cheering, half screaming in outrage. Aldrich shot to his feet. "What?" "I yield," Gareth's voice carried across the arena. "The Omega wins. The trial is over." "You can't." "I just did." Gareth met Aldrich's eyes. "And if you have a problem with that, you fight her yourself." Aldrich's face went purple, but he said nothing, because the rules were clear: yield, die, or thrown from the circle. Gareth had yielded. Alara had won. The world spun. She tried to take a step. Her legs gave out. Strong arms caught her before she hit the ground. "Caedric, when did he get here?" "I've got you," he said against her hair. "I've got you. I won." The words came out slurred. You did. You incredible, stubborn, impossible woman. You won. Told you I could. You also told me you were okay. That was a fucking lie." "Yeah, well." Her eyes were so heavy. "I lie sometimes. Stay with me, Alara. Stay with me." Trying. "The poison. I need a healer. Someone get a healer." But his voice was fading. Everything was fading. The last thing she felt was heat, pouring into her from everywhere his skin touched hers. The bond. Trying to save her. And then there was nothing but darkness. She woke to pain. White hot. Searing. Like her entire body was being torn apart and rebuilt from the inside out. She tried to scream. Couldn't. Her throat was too dry. "Easy." A hand on her forehead. Cool. Gentle. "You're okay. You're safe." She forced her eyes open. Stone ceiling. Firelight. The smell of herbs and medicine. And sitting beside her bed, looking like he hadn't slept in days, Kadric. Hey, he said softly. Welcome back. How long? Her voice was a rasp. 2 days. Finn is fine, completely recovered. I had him brought to the palace. He's down the hall. Been asking about you constantly. Relief flooded through her. The poison? Should have killed you. His hand found hers, squeezed. Would have killed you, but something happened in the arena right before you passed out. What? You started glowing. She blinked. What? Your skin. It lit up. Silver light. Like moonlight made solid. And the poison. He shook his head. It just burned away. Evaporated. The healers have never seen anything like it. I don't remember that. You were unconscious, but I saw it. Everyone saw it. His eyes met hers. Intense. Alara, what are you? I'm an Omega. Same as always. No, you're not. Omegas don't glow. Don't burn away poison. Don't. He stopped. Started again. The council is demanding answers. They want to examine you. Run tests. Let them try. I told them to fuck off. Despite everything, she smiled. Diplomatic. I'm done being diplomatic. They tried to kill you, poisoned their own champion to make sure you die. His voice turned to ice. Aldrich is in the dungeons. The others are confined to their quarters pending investigation. And I'm about to tear this whole system down if that's what it takes to keep you safe. Kadric, no, listen to me. I thought I understood what the bond meant, what having a mate meant. But watching you in that arena, bleeding, dying, still fighting, his voice cracked. I can't do this without you. I won't. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're brave and stubborn and loyal to the point of stupidity. I know you fight for people who can't fight for themselves. I know my wolf chose you for a reason, and I know... He lifted her hand, pressed his lips to her knuckles. I know I'm falling in love with you, and I don't care if that's fast or crazy or impossible. It's true. Her breath caught. You don't have to say anything, he continued. You don't have to feel the same way, but I need you to know. I need you to understand what you mean to, I can shift. The words fell between them like bombs. He went very still. What? When I was in the arena, dying, I felt something. She stared at the ceiling. Something inside me, something I've never felt before. Like a door I didn't know existed suddenly opened, and behind it, your wolf. Not just my wolf, something more. Something, she struggled for the words. Something ancient, powerful. And it wanted out so badly I thought it would tear me apart. But you didn't shift. Because I was terrified of what I'd become, of what it meant. She looked at him. Kadric, I don't think I'm a normal Omega. I could have told you that 2 days ago. I'm serious. Whatever's inside me, whatever woke up in that arena, it's not natural. It's not right. And I think... Her voice dropped to a whisper. I think the council knows. Or suspects. And that's why they want me dead. Then we'll deal with them. How? Together. He stood, leaned over her. But first, you're going to recover. Fully. No more fighting, no more poison, just rest. And then we figure out what you are, what you can do. And we use it to make sure nobody ever threatens you again. His eyes blazed gold. You're mine, Alara, my mate, my queen, and I protect what's mine. Before she could respond, he kissed her, not gentle, not asking, claiming. The bond detonated. Heat, power, connection. It roared through her system like wildfire, burning away the last traces of poison, the exhaustion, the fear. She gasped against his mouth, and he deepened the kiss, one hand cupping the back of her head, the other bracing on the bed beside her. Mine. The word echoed through the bond, through her blood. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. That was, she started. Necessary, he finished. I've been waiting 2 days to do that. While I was dying? You weren't dying, you were healing. There's a difference. He sat back down. And now that you're awake, we have about 1,000 things to discuss, starting with a knock at the door. Kadric's expression went dark. What? A guard entered, young, nervous. Your Majesty, there's been a development. Can it wait? No, sire. You need to see this. They brought her to the throne room in a wheelchair. She hated it, but her legs still weren't steady, and Kaedric had threatened to carry her if she tried to walk. So, wheelchair. The throne room was packed. Every noble who could fit had crammed inside, whispering, staring at her. Kaedric wheeled her to the front, positioned her beside the throne, took his seat. "What's this about?" he demanded. Aldrich, flanked by 2 guards, stepped forward from where he'd been standing with the other council members. He looked smaller somehow, diminished, but his eyes were still sharp. "It's about bloodlines, Your Majesty." "Explain." "After the trial, we examined the arena, analyzed the Omega's blood, and we found something interesting." He pulled out a piece of parchment. "Do you know what this is?" Kaedric's jaw tightened. "Get to the point. This is a genealogical record. Very old, very secret. It traces the bloodlines of the Silver Ash Wolves, the ones your ancestors hunted to extinction 500 years ago." Silence crashed through the room. "The Silver Ash are dead," someone whispered. "So we thought." Aldrich's smile was poisonous. "But blood doesn't lie. And the Omega's blood," he looked at Alara, "carries the markers. She's not just an Omega, she's a Silver Ash, the last of them." The throne room erupted. Voices, shouting, arguing, accusing. Alara's mind spun. Silver Ash. The name meant nothing to her. She'd never heard it before. But the way everyone was staring, like she was a monster, like she was dangerous. "That's impossible," Kaedric said, voice flat. "Dangerous. The Silver Ash bloodline was eliminated centuries ago." "Apparently not." Aldrich's smile widened, which raises some very interesting questions, like why she's been hiding among the Omegas, what her true purpose is here, and whether, his eyes glinted, whether she's been using her power to manipulate you, to seduce you, to... Careful. Kaedric's voice could have frozen fire. "You're accusing my mate of treason. I'm stating facts. The Silver Ash were enemies of the throne, and now one of them has wormed her way into your bed, into your bond, into your... Enough!" The word detonated through the chamber. Kaedric rose from the throne. Power rolled off him in waves. Alpha dominance, absolute. "I don't care what her bloodline is. I don't care what she is. She's my mate. That makes her untouchable. And anyone who threatens her answers to me. Your Majesty." One of the other council members stepped forward. "With respect, this changes everything. The Silver Ash were killed for a reason. Their power was too great, too dangerous. If she awakens fully, then she awakens, and we deal with it, together. You're being irrational. I'm being clear. Alara stays, the bond stands. And if the council has a problem with that..." His eyes swept the room. "There's the door." No one moved. Then Aldrich laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You're making a mistake, Your Majesty. One that will cost you everything." "Then let it cost." "So be it." Aldrich turned to the room. "Let it be known. I formally challenge the legitimacy of this bond, and I invoke the ancient right of..." Alara stood. The wheelchair clattered backward. Every eye turned to her. "No." Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the noise like a blade. "The Omega speaks," Aldrich sneered. "How quaint." I said no. She took a step forward, then another. Her legs were shaking, but they held. "You want to challenge the bond? Fine. Challenge me. Not him. Me. What are you..." "Trial by combat. You and me. Right now." She met his eyes. "Unless you're too scared to face the Omega you've been trying to kill." The throne room went silent. Aldrich's face went white, then red. "You dare!" "I dare." "What's wrong, Aldrich? Afraid you'll lose to someone you think is beneath you? You can barely stand. Then it should be an easy fight." He stared at her, at this broken Omega who'd just challenged him in front of the entire court, and something in his expression shifted. Calculation, greed. "Very well. I accept." His smile was sharp. "Tomorrow night, full moon, and when I win, when I prove you're not fit to stand beside our king, you leave forever. Do we have a deal?" Kaedric grabbed her arm. "Alara, no!" She looked up at him. Trust me. This is insane. I know. But I'm tired of running, tired of being afraid, tired of letting people like him decide what I'm worth. She turned back to Aldrich. We have a deal. Tomorrow night, you and me, and may the best wolf win. Aldrich's smile widened. I look forward to it. The council members filed out. The nobles dispersed, whispering, excited. Another fight, more blood, more entertainment. When the room was finally empty except for them, Kadric spun her around. What the hell were you thinking? I was thinking I'm tired of being the victim. You almost died 2 days ago. And I'll almost die again tomorrow. But at least this time, I'm choosing the fight. She pulled her arm free. I can't keep letting you protect me, Kadric. I can't keep hiding behind your power. If I'm going to be your mate, your queen, I need to prove I can stand on my own. You already proved that. To you, not to them, not to the court, not to myself. Her voice broke. I need to do this. Please, trust me. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, I hate this. I know. If something happens, it won't. You can't promise that. No. But I can promise I'll fight like hell, and that has to be enough. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. You're going to give me a heart attack, he muttered against her hair. At least you'll die entertained. Despite everything, he laughed. They stood there in the empty throne room, King and Omega, mate and mate. And somewhere deep inside Alara, that ancient door opened a little wider, and something with silver eyes looked out and smiled. The moon was rising when Finn finally found her. Alara sat in the garden where she'd first heard about the trial of worth, staring at nothing, her mind 1,000 miles away. The ring on her finger caught the fading light. Kadric's sister's ring, a promise she might not live to keep. They said you almost died. Finn's voice was small, scared. She turned. Her little brother stood at the garden entrance, looking healthier than she'd seen him in months. Color in his cheeks, strength in his stance. The moonshade root had worked miracles. I'm okay. You're lying. He crossed the space between them and dropped onto the bench beside her. I heard what happened, the poison, the fight. Alara, what are you doing? Surviving, same as always. No, you're throwing yourself into fights you can't win. That's not surviving, that's suicide. She flinched. I won, didn't I? Barely. And now you're fighting again tomorrow, against a council member, an alpha. His hand found hers. Please, just stop. Walk away. We can leave the city, go somewhere they'll never find us. And spend the rest of our lives running? No. Why not? We've run before. Because I'm tired, Finn. The admission came out raw, broken. I'm tired of being nothing, of being invisible, of watching people like Aldrich decide who lives and who dies based on bloodlines and power. She looked at him. For once in my life, I want to stand up, fight back, win. Even if it kills you? Better to die standing than live on my knees. Finn was quiet for a long moment. Then, when did you become so brave? I'm not brave, I'm just done being scared. He leaned against her shoulder. I'm scared enough for both of us. I know. She wrapped an arm around him. But you don't have to be. No matter what happens tomorrow, you're safe, Kadric promised. You'll be taken care of. I don't want to be taken care of. I want my sister. Her throat tightened. You'll always have me, one way or another. They sat in silence as darkness fell and the full moon climbed higher. And somewhere in the palace, preparations for another bloodbath began. Bum? Rowan came at midnight with weapons and grim news. Aldrich's been training, he said, laying out an array of blades on the table in her room. All day. He's not taking this lightly. Good. Neither am I. Alara. He caught her wrist. He's a full alpha, trained warrior. You're still recovering from poison. This isn't a fair fight. Nothing in my life has ever been fair. Why start now? Because you could actually die this time. I could have died in the last fight too. Didn't stop me. That was different. Gareth didn't want to kill you. Aldrich does, desperately. Rowan's expression was dark. And there's something else, something I heard from the guards. What? The king's been in the archives all day, researching the Silver Ash bloodline, and whatever he found, Rowan shook his head. It's bad. He came out looking like he'd seen a ghost. Ice slid down her spine. What did he find? He won't say, but he's been asking to see you, urgently. Then where is he? The council called an emergency session. They're trying to use your bloodline to nullify the bond, claiming you're a threat to the kingdom. Rowan's jaw tightened. The king's fighting them, but I don't know how long he can hold out. I need to see him. You need to rest. The fight's in less than 18 hours. Rowan, no, I'm serious. Whatever's happening with the council can wait. Right now you need to focus on staying alive. He picked up a short blade. Well-balanced. Deadly. This is yours. Practice the moves I showed you. Get some sleep if you can. And tomorrow, I know, don't die. I was going to say trust your instincts, but yeah, also don't die. He left her with the weapons and the weight of tomorrow pressing down like a physical thing. Elora picked up the blade, tested its weight, moved through the defensive patterns Rowan had drilled into her. Her body remembered. Even exhausted, even poisoned, it remembered. But would it be enough? The scratching came at 2 a.m. She almost ignored it, almost threw the brick at the wall out of sheer frustration. But something made her look. The note that slid through was longer this time. Hastier handwriting. They're lying to you. All of them. The Silver Ash weren't enemies. They were protectors, guardians, and the royal family killed them because they were too powerful to control. Your bloodline isn't a curse. It's a threat to them, not to you. Don't trust anyone, not even... The writing cut off mid-sentence, like whoever wrote it had been interrupted. Alara stared at the paper. Not even who? Not even Kadric? No. That was paranoia talking. The king had risked everything for her, defended her, fought for her. He couldn't. She crumpled the note and fed it to the fire, but the words stayed with her, burned into her brain like a brand. Don't trust anyone. Dawn came gray and cold. Alara stood at her window watching the arena being prepared for the second time in 3 days. Fresh white stones marking the circle. New torches. The blood from the last fight scrubbed away like it had never happened. Like Gareth had never bled. Like she had never almost died. A knock. She didn't turn. Come in, Kadric's voice. We need to talk. Her chest tightened. About what? About what I found in the archives, about your bloodline, about what it means. Now she turned. He looked like he hadn't slept. Dark circles under his eyes, hair disheveled, still wearing yesterday's clothes. Tell me, she said. He closed the door, locked it, crossed to her with a rolled parchment in his hands. The Silver Ash weren't just wolves, they were something more, something older. He unrolled the parchment. Ancient text, faded diagrams. They had abilities normal wolves don't. Healing, enhanced strength, and something called the Silver Fire, a power that could burn away poison, cure disease, even bring dying wolves back from the brink. That's what saved me. In the arena. Yes, but it's more than that. His finger traced a line of text. The Silver Ash could also amplify other wolves, make them stronger, faster, more powerful. They were meant to serve as guardians, protectors of the weak. Then why were they killed? His jaw tightened. Because some of the royal family saw them as a threat, saw their power, and wanted it controlled, contained. And when the Silver Ash refused to submit, refused to become weapons for the throne, they were hunted to extinction. By my ancestors, yes. He looked at her, pain raw in his eyes. My family killed yours? Systematically. Brutally, hunted them down over decades until everyone thought they were gone. The words hung between them like blades. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know. Because this bond, what we are to each other, it's built on blood, on genocide, on, his voice cracked, on sins I can never atone for. You didn't kill them. That was centuries ago. But I benefit from it. My throne, my power, my kingdom, all of it built on the bones of your people. He reached for her hand. She let him take it. And now the council knows what you are, knows what you could become. And they're terrified. So they want me dead. They want you controlled, contained, exactly like before. His grip tightened. But I won't let that happen. I swear to you. Whatever it takes, I'll protect you. Even if it costs you your throne? Especially then, she studied his face. The raw honesty there. The desperation. And she wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that this was real, that he meant it. But the note's words whispered in her mind. Don't trust anyone. There's something else, Kadric said quietly. Something the archives mentioned. About the bond between Silver Ash and Alphas. What about it? It's not random, not fate. He swallowed hard. The Silver Ash could choose. They had the ability to form bonds with specific wolves, to amplify them, strengthen them, make them nearly unstoppable. Understanding hit like a fist. You think I chose you. I think your power chose me, saw a dormant wolf, saw potential, and ignited the bond to wake me up. That's insane, is it? My wolf was dead for 30 years, and the moment you appeared, the moment your blood recognized what I was, he came roaring back to life. His eyes searched hers. Tell me that's coincidence. She couldn't, because deep down she'd wondered the same thing, wondered why the bond had formed so fast, so absolutely, wondered why it felt less like fate and more like something deliberate. So what does that mean? Her voice was barely a whisper. What am I to you? A mate? Or a weapon? You're everything. He pulled her closer. Mate, queen, partner. I don't care how the bond formed. I only care that it did. That you're here, that we have a chance to... The door exploded inward. Guards, 6 of them. Led by a council member Alara didn't recognize. Seize her, the man ordered. Kedrick spun. What the hell is this? Emergency decree from the council. The Omega is to be detained pending investigation into charges of magical manipulation and conspiracy against the crown. She's done nothing. She's corrupted the king's mind with Silver Ash power. The bond is false, manufactured, and under ancient law, manufactured bonds are grounds for immediate annulment and exile. This is insane. 2 guards grabbed Alara's arms. She didn't fight, couldn't. Her mind was still reeling. Manufactured bonds corrupted the king's mind. Was it true? Had she somehow manipulated him without knowing? Let her go. Kadrick's voice dropped to a growl. Right now. We're acting on the council's authority. I am your king. The roar shook the walls. But the guards didn't let go. The council has invoked emergency powers. Until the investigation is complete, you are not authorized to interfere with... Kedrick moved like lightning. 1 guard went down, then another, blood sprayed. Someone screamed, Stop! Alara's voice cut through the chaos. Kedrick, stop! He froze, chest heaving, eyes blazing gold. They can't take you. If you kill them, you prove their point. That I've corrupted you, made you violent, unstable. She looked at the remaining guards. I'll go, peacefully, but this isn't over. Alara, trust me, please. The words were bitter on her tongue, because she wasn't sure she trusted anyone anymore, including herself. They threw her in the dungeons, not a cell, a cage. Iron bars, stone floor, no bed, no blanket, just cold and darkness and the drip of water somewhere in the shadows. Alara sank onto the floor and tried not to scream. How had this happened? 3 days ago she'd been invisible, a ghost, nobody. Now she was locked in a cage, accused of manipulating a king, facing execution tomorrow night, if she even made it that long. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. She looked up. Aldrich stood outside the cage, his smile sharp enough to cut glass. Comfortable? Go to hell. Temper, that's no way to speak to the man who holds your life in his hands. He crouched down to her level. Did you really think you could waltz into this palace and seduce our king with your silver ash tricks? Did you think we wouldn't notice? I didn't seduce anyone. No? Then how do you explain the bond? A dormant wolf suddenly awakening after 3 decades? That's not natural. That's manipulation, magic, control. His eyes glittered. You're exactly what we feared the silver ash would become. A parasite, latching onto power, corrupting it from within. You're insane. Am I? Or am I the only one seeing clearly? He stood. Tomorrow night, you and I will fight. And when I win, when I prove you're nothing but a fraud, the bond will be severed. The king will be free, and you'll be exiled forever. And if I win? You won't. His smile widened. But even if you do, even if by some miracle you defeat me, the council has already voted. The bond is nullified, effective immediately. You've lost, Omega. You just don't know it yet. He walked away. His laughter echoed long after he disappeared. Alara sat in the darkness and felt something inside her crack. The bond. She could still feel it, pulling, aching, reaching for Kaedric somewhere in the palace above. But if what Aldrich said was true, if the council had already annulled it, then what was this pain in her chest? What was this connection that felt more real than anything she'd ever known? Was it love? Or was it just her power? Using him, feeding off him, manipulating him without her even knowing. She didn't have answers, and in 6 hours she'd be dragged into an arena to fight for a future that might not even exist. The cell door opened at midnight. Alara's head snapped up, expecting guards. She found Maris instead. The older woman carried a bundle of clothes and a grim expression. Get up, we don't have much time. For what? To get you out of here. Maris unlocked the cage door. The king's planning a rescue. Stupid, reckless. We'll probably start a civil war, but he's doing it anyway. He can't. He can. He will. And unless you want to watch him burn his kingdom for you, you're going to help me stop him. Maris thrust the clothes at her. Put these on. Guard uniform. We're walking out the front gate. This is insane. So is everything else about your life. Move. Alara changed quickly. The guard uniform was too big but serviceable. Maris handed her a helmet. Keep your head down. Don't speak. Follow my lead. They moved through the dungeon corridors, past cells holding other prisoners, past guard stations where Maris nodded to colleagues who didn't look twice at the woman beside her, out into the main palace, upstairs, through hallways Alara recognized. They were heading for the king's chambers. Maris? Quiet. They reached the heavy wooden doors. Maris didn't knock, just opened them and pushed Alara inside. Kedrick spun from where he'd been standing at the window. His face went through shock, relief, and fury in rapid succession. What are you? Saving you from yourself, Maris said. You were about to launch a rescue mission that would have gotten half your guard killed and handed the council exactly the excuse they need to depose you, so I brought her here instead. You broke her out? I borrowed her, temporarily. You have maybe 10 minutes before someone notices she's gone. Maris looked between them. Say whatever you need to say, then we return her to the cell before this whole thing explodes. She left, closed the door. Silence crashed down. Alara and Kadrick stared at each other across 10 feet of stone floor. You shouldn't have come for me, she said finally. Like hell I shouldn't. It's exactly what they want. Proof that I've corrupted you, made you irrational. I don't care what they want. You should. You're the king, and you're my mate. He crossed the distance between them. Bond or no bond, council decree or not. You're mine, and I'm yours, and nothing changes that. Even if it's built on lies, on manipulation, on my power using you without me knowing, I don't believe that. Why not? Everyone else does. Because I know the difference between manipulation and choice. And I'm choosing you, every day, every moment, bond or no bond. His hands framed her face. Tell me you don't feel it. Tell me this isn't real. Look me in the eye and say it's all just silver ash magic. She couldn't, because even with everything falling apart, even with the accusations and the fear and the doubt, the bond still felt right, still felt like coming home. I don't know what's real anymore, she whispered. Then let me show you. He kissed her, and this time there was nothing gentle about it, nothing careful, just raw need and desperation and the absolute certainty that this might be the last time. The bond roared to life, but it wasn't manipulating, wasn't controlling. It was just connecting. Two people, two wolves, two souls reaching for each other in the darkness. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Kadrick rested his forehead against hers. Whatever happens tomorrow, in the arena, with the council, I need you to know something. What? I love you. Not because of the bond, not because of your power, because of you. The woman who broke into my palace to save her brother. who stood up to Aldrich in front of the entire court, who fights like she's got nothing left to lose. His voice cracked. You've given me more in 3 days than I've had in 30 years, and I'm not letting them take that away. Kadrick, let me finish. If you win tomorrow, when you win, we're leaving. You, me, Finn. We'll go somewhere the council can't touch us. Start over. I'll give up the throne if that's what it takes. You can't do that. Watch me. Your people need you. I need you more. He kissed her again, softer this time. So win. Please. Whatever it takes. Win. The door opened. Maris. Time's up. Guards are starting to notice. Alara pulled back. I need to tell you something. About the fight. What? I got notes. Anonymous. Warning me. About Gareth's poison. About Aldrich. About... She swallowed. About trusting people. His expression darkened. Who sent them? I don't know, but whoever it is, they have access to council secrets, private information. They're helping me, or... The alternative chilled her. Or they're manipulating me, setting me up for something worse. Did you keep the notes? I burned them. I'm sorry. I should have... It's okay. We'll figure it out. He touched her face one more time. Be careful tomorrow. Trust your instincts. And if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you get out of that arena. I don't care about honor or tradition. I care about you staying alive. I'll try. Don't try, promise. I promise. Liar. But she couldn't tell him the truth, that she had no intention of running, that tomorrow night she was going to end this, one way or another. Maris led her back through the palace, back down to the dungeons, back into the cage, the bars locked with a finality that echoed in her bones. For what it's worth, Maris said quietly, I don't think you're manipulating him. I think you're just a girl who got caught in something bigger than both of you. Does it matter what you think? Probably not. But I thought you should know someone believes you. She left, and Alara sat in the darkness, counting down the hours until dawn, until the fight, until everything ended. They came for her at sunset, 6 guards, full armor. They didn't speak, just unlocked the cage and hauled her to her feet. The walk to the arena felt like walking to an execution. Palace corridors, stone steps, the roar of the crowd growing louder with every step. They'd come to watch her die. All of them. The guards shoved her through the entrance. The arena exploded with noise, torches blazing, moon hanging full and massive overhead, the fighting circle pristine white, and the stands packed. Thousands of wolves, screaming, chanting, bloodthirsty. On the royal platform, the council sat in their ceremonial robes, and beside them, standing alone, was Kadrick. Their eyes met across the arena. His expression said everything. I love you. Be careful. Come back to me. She nodded once, then turned to face the center of the circle. Aldrich was already there, waiting. He'd stripped to fighting leathers. His claws were extended, and his smile victorious, like he'd already won. Maybe he had. A horn blew. The council leader stood. Let the trial begin. The Omega Alara Vexley stands accused of manipulation, corruption, and conspiracy against the crown. Lord Aldrich will serve as the council's champion. The rules are unchanged. Fight until one yields, one dies, or one is thrown from the circle. The crowd roared. Should the Omega prove victorious, all charges are dropped. A pause. However, the council's decree regarding the bond remains in effect. Win or lose, the bond is nullified. Alara's chest went cold. She'd known. Aldrich had told her, but hearing it announced, official, final, the bond was gone. No matter what she did, no matter if she won, she'd already lost. Across the arena, Kadrick's roar shook the stones. You can't! The decree is law, Your Majesty. Approved by majority vote. The bond is severed. Then I'll... But whatever he was going to say was drowned out by the second horn. Fight. Aldrich moved, fast, faster than Gareth had been. He closed the distance in seconds, claws aimed at her throat. Alara dropped, rolled, came up with her blade. He was already pursuing. No mercy, no hesitation. This was execution. His claws raked across her arm. She hissed in pain but kept moving, ducked under his next swing, drove her blade toward his ribs. He caught her wrist. Twisted. Bone ground against bone. She screamed. He threw her. She hit the ground hard. Tasted blood. Her blade skittered across stone. Aldrich stalked toward her. Did you really think you could win? A broken Omega against a trained Alpha? She scrambled backward. I've beaten worse odds. No, you've gotten lucky. There's a difference. He grabbed her by the throat, lifted her off the ground. And your luck just ran out. His claws dug into her skin. Not deep, just enough to hurt, to threaten. The crowd screamed for blood. Yield, Aldrich said. Save yourself the pain. Go to hell. Wrong answer. He threw her again. This time she hit the edge of the circle. White stone cracked beneath her. Pain exploded through her spine, her ribs, everything. Get up. She couldn't. Get up. Her body wouldn't respond. Aldrich's boots appeared in her vision. Last chance, yield. She spat blood at his feet. He laughed, brave and stupid to the end. His claws came down and stopped, frozen in mid-air. Aldrich's eyes went wide, confused, terrified. What? Silver light erupted from Alara's skin. Not just light, fire, blazing, radiant, unstoppable. It poured from her in waves, and everywhere it touched, the pain vanished. Her broken ribs healed. Her torn skin knitted back together. And inside her, that ancient door didn't just open, it shattered. Power flooded through her system. Raw, massive, ancient, the silver fire. Finally awake, finally free. She stood. Aldrich stumbled back. No, this isn't, you can't. Can't what? Her voice echoed strangely, layered, like someone else was speaking through her. Can't access my birthright? Can't become what I was always meant to be? The silver fire blazed brighter. The crowd had gone silent, staring, shocked. You wanted to see what a silver ash could do? Alara raised her hands. Let me show you. The fire exploded outward. It didn't burn, didn't destroy. It just was. Pure power made visible, and everywhere it touched, wolves gasped, stumbled, fell to their knees, because they could feel it, the weight, the dominance, the absolute certainty that something ancient and terrifying had just woken up in their midst. Aldrich tried to run. The fire caught him. Wrapped around him like chains, he screamed, not in pain, in terror. Please, I yield, I yield. Too late. Alara's hand closed into a fist. The fire tightened, and Aldrich, proud, cruel Aldrich, dropped to his knees. I'm sorry, he gasped. Please, mercy, I'm sorry. You wanted to know if I manipulated the king? Her voice was ice. You wanted proof of silver ash corruption? She leaned down, met his eyes. Here's your proof. The fire poured into him, not to kill, not to destroy, to show. Every lie he'd told, every life he'd taken, every cruel decision made in the name of power. The arena's stones began to glow, projecting images like ghosts. Aldrich ordering Gareth's claws poisoned. Aldrich planning Alara's assassination. Aldrich conspiring with other council members to overthrow Kaedric. And worse, Aldrich meeting with someone in shadow, taking orders, following instructions to destroy the Silver Ash Girl before she could awaken fully. The crowd erupted in chaos. But Alara didn't stop. She pulled more memories, deeper truths, and found the one that shattered everything. A memory of Aldrich. Younger, decades ago. Standing over a body. A girl's body. Dark hair. Gentle eyes. A smile frozen in death. Liana. Kaedric's sister. No. The word fell from Alara's lips. No, you didn't. But the memory continued. Aldrich receiving payment, gold, status, power, for murdering the king's sister, for breaking the king's wolf, for making him weak enough to control. The projection ended. Silence. Then Kaedric's roar shattered the night. You! He vaulted the railing, landed in the arena, shifted mid-leap. His wolf, massive, black as midnight, eyes blazing gold, hit Aldrich like a battering ram. Claws tore, fangs found flesh. Aldrich screamed. Kaedric, stop! Alara's voice cut through his rage. He's not worth it! The black wolf snarled, shook Aldrich like a rag doll. Kaedric! He dropped the council member, turned to her, blood dripping from his muzzle, and Alara saw it. The pain, the betrayal. 30 years of grief crashing down at once. He killed her! Kadrick's voice came rough from his shifted form. He killed Lyanna, my sister. I know. I saw. She moved closer, the silver fire still burning around her. But if you kill him now, they'll use it against you, call you unstable, unfit, everything we've fought against. I don't care. I do. Because this kingdom needs you, and her voice cracked. I need you. The black wolf stared at her. Then slowly, he shifted back to human, naked, blood-covered, shaking with rage, but human. He looked at Aldrich, at the broken, bleeding council member who'd orchestrated everything. You don't die tonight, Kadrick said quietly, but you will wish you had. He turned to the council platform. Arrest him. Charge him with regicide, conspiracy, and treason. He confesses in front of witnesses. The Crown demands justice. The other council members scrambled to comply. Guards appeared, dragged Aldrich away. His screams echoed long after he vanished. Kadrick turned back to Alara. The silver fire was starting to fade, flickering. Her legs shook. It's okay, she whispered. I've got this under control. She collapsed. He caught her before she hit the ground. Someone get a healer, now! But as guards rushed to comply, as the crowd began to disperse, as chaos swallowed the arena, Alara felt something else. Something cold. Something wrong. The bond. It was dying. The council's decree. The nullification. It was working. The connection that had pulled her to Kadrick, that had made her feel less alone, that had woken her power and given her purpose. It was being severed. Cut away like a diseased limb. No. She grabbed Kadrick's shirt. No, I can feel it. The bond. I know, I feel it too. His voice was raw. But we'll fight it. We'll find a way. There is no way. The decree is law. And the silver fire. She looked at her hands, still glowing faintly. It's burning it away, purging the connection, making me whole, making her alone. Then we'll form a new bond, a different one, choice instead of fate. It doesn't work like that. Then we'll make it work. He pulled her closer. I told you, bond or no bond. You're mine. I'm yours. Nothing changes. But everything was changing. She could feel her power stabilizing, settling, growing, and the bond, the connection that had defined everything for 3 days, fading, dying, gone. The emptiness hit like a physical blow. She gasped. Kadrick's arms tightened around her. I've got you. You're okay. I can't feel you anymore. The words came out broken. The bond. It's gone. You're gone. I'm right here. But I can't feel you. And for the first time since she'd met him, since fate had chosen them, since everything had begun, Kadrick looked at her without the bond, and she looked back. Two strangers, holding each other in the ruins of something that used to be inevitable. Do you still... She couldn't finish. He understood anyway. Yes. Do you? Did she? Without the bond pulling her. Without the certainty. Without fate telling her this was right. Did she still? The answer should have been simple. But as she opened her mouth to say yes, to confirm that love existed outside of magic, something else happened. The silver fire exploded. Not from her. From everywhere. The arena stones, the torches, the moon itself, silver light poured down like rain, and in it, shapes, figures, wolves made of starlight and memory, the silver ash, all of them, hundreds, thousands, every soul murdered over 5 centuries, and at the front leading them, a woman, tall, radiant, eyes like silver coins. She looked at Alara and spoke in a voice that echoed from beyond death itself. Child, you have awakened, but your trial is not over. Alara couldn't breathe. Who? I am Ashara, first of the silver bloodline, and we have been waiting for you. Waiting for what? To make a choice. Ashara's form flickered. The bond you had. It was fate's attempt to protect you, to give you an anchor, but fate chose wrong. Chose a throne built on our blood, A king descended from our murderers. No. Listen, the power inside you is not meant to serve, not meant to strengthen others. It is meant to rule. Ashara's eyes blazed. You can take it, all of it, the strength, the dominance, the right to reshape this world into something better, but only if you let go of him. She gestured to Kadric. Let go of the bond, the love, the weakness. Become what you were meant to be, pure, powerful, free. And if I refuse, then you remain half of what you could be, tethered to a man, to a throne, to a system that will always see you as less. Ashara moved closer. Choose, Alara Vexley. Choose power, or choose him. You cannot have both. The arena had gone silent, everyone watching, waiting, for her to decide. Alara looked at Kadric, at the man who defended her, protected her, loved her, without the bond pulling her. Did she still want? Did she still want him? Without fate forcing her hand, without the bond screaming in her chest that he was hers and she was his, without any of it. Did she still? Yes. The word came out quiet, absolute. Ashara's expression didn't change. You choose weakness. No, I choose him. Alara's hand found Kadric's, squeezed. And that's not the same thing. It is exactly the same thing. Love makes you vulnerable, exploitable, controllable. Love makes me human, or wolf, or whatever the hell I am. Alara's voice strengthened. And I'm not giving that up. Not for power, not for you, not for anything. The silver wolves flickered, agitated. Ashara moved closer, her form more solid now, more real. You don't understand what you're refusing. The throne needs a silver ash. The kingdom is broken, corrupt, built on the bones of our people. You could tear it down, rebuild it, make it just. By becoming exactly what they feared, a tyrant with unlimited power? By becoming what we were meant to be, guardians, protectors, rulers. No. Kadric's voice cut through the conversation. She's already something better than that. Ashara's eyes shifted to him, cold, dismissive. The descendant speaks. Tell me, King, what makes you think you have any right to her? Your bloodline murdered mine. Your ancestors hunted us like animals. And you stand there covered in our legacy and dare to claim her? I'm not claiming her. She's not property. Kadric stepped forward, putting himself between Alara and the ghost. And yeah, my ancestors were monsters. I can't change that, can't fix it. But I can make damn sure it never happens again. Pretty words, meaningless. Then let me prove it. He looked at the assembled spirits, at the hundreds of murdered souls. I formally abdicate, right here, right now. The throne goes to Alara. Full authority, no conditions. She becomes queen, and His jaw tightened. I become whatever she needs me to be. Silence crashed through the arena. The living wolves in the stands erupted in chaos, shouting, protesting. But Kadric didn't look away from Ashara. That's my offer. She gets the power, the throne, everything. And your people finally get justice. A silver ash wearing the crown that was stolen from them. Kadric, no. Alara grabbed his arm. You can't just... I can. I am. He turned to her. You want to know if I still want you without the bond? This is my answer. I'd give up everything, the crown, the power, my entire legacy, just to stand beside you. Her throat closed. Ashara laughed. It was not a kind sound. You think giving her the throne makes this right? Makes 500 years of genocide acceptable? No, nothing makes it acceptable, but it's a start. Kadric's voice was steel. And it's more than any other king has offered. It's not enough. Then what do you want? Blood? Fine. Take mine. I'm right here. Kadric. Alara tried to pull him back. He didn't move. Ashara studied him, long and hard. You would die for her. Without hesitation. Even knowing she could rule better without you? Especially knowing that. He smiled, grim. I'm not stupid. I know what I am. A king built by a broken system. But she... He looked at Alara. She's something new, something better. And I won't be the thing that holds her back. The silver wolves began to fade, flickering like candle flames in wind. Ashara's form grew less solid. The living king offers his throne, his life, his future. Her eyes found Alara's. But the choice is still yours, child. Take the power we offer, become the ruler this kingdom needs. Or choose him, choose half measures, choose compromise. Or I choose something you're not offering. Ashara paused. And what is that? Both, Alara's voice rang across the arena. I take the throne. I accept the power. But I don't do it alone, and I don't do it by becoming some isolated, untouchable queen who rules through fear. She looked at Kadric. I do it with him, as partners, equals. We rebuild this kingdom together. That's not how power works. Then we'll change how power works. Alara stepped forward. The silver fire blazed around her again. Not wild, controlled. You say love makes me weak? I say it makes me stronger, because I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for him, for Finn, for every Omega who's been told they're nothing, for every wolf who's been crushed by this system. Her voice rose. I'll take your power. I'll wear the crown. But I do it my way, not yours. The silver wolves stopped fading. Ashara stared at her, and for the first time, something like respect flickered across her face. You would forge a new path. I would burn the old one down and start over. With him beside you. With him beside me. Foolish, sentimental, impossibly naive. Probably, but it's my choice, my life, my power. Alara's eyes blazed. So either accept it or get out of my way. Silence. Then Ashara smiled. Actually smiled. Perhaps fate chose better than I thought. She began to dissolve, fading back into silver light. Very well. Take the power. Take the throne. Take your king. And may you build something worth the blood we spilled. The silver wolves vanished. The light faded. And Alara stood in the center of the arena, power thrumming through her veins, Kadric at her side. The crowd had gone completely silent. Then someone started chanting, Silver Queen, Silver Queen, Silver Queen. It spread, rippled through the stands like wildfire. Thousands of voices, united, declaring allegiance to a queen who hadn't even been crowned yet. Kadric turned to her. You sure about this? About which part? Taking the throne? Keeping you around, completely rewriting centuries of tradition? All of it. Not even a little bit, she smiled. But we're doing it anyway. Then we better do it right. He dropped to one knee, right there, in the blood-soaked arena, in front of the entire kingdom. What are you doing? What I should have done from the start. His voice carried, loud enough for everyone to hear. I, Kadric Thorn, last king of the Broken Realm, formally cede my throne to Alara Vexley of the Silver Ash bloodline. She is queen by right of power, by right of blood, and by right of the choice I freely make. He looked up at her. And I ask, not as a king, but as a man, to serve at your side, as consort, as partner, as whatever you need me to be. Tears burned in her eyes. You're an idiot, probably. And you're asking me this in front of 10,000 witnesses so I can't say no. Definitely. I should make you regret this. You probably will, daily. His smile was soft, real. Is that a yes? She pulled him to his feet. It's a maybe. Ask me again when we're not covered in blood. Deal. The crowd erupted, cheering, roaring, celebrating. And in that moment, standing in the arena where she'd almost died twice, where she'd discovered her power, where she'd chosen love over isolation, Alara Vexley became something the world had never seen. A Silver Ash Queen, with a king who'd given up everything to stand beside her. The coronation happened 3 days later. 3 days of chaos. Of council meetings where remaining members scrambled to adapt to the new reality. Of nobles pledging allegiance or fleeing the kingdom entirely. Of commoners and Omegas flooding the palace gates, desperate to see the queen who'd come from nothing. Alara hated every second of it, the meetings, the politics, the endless parade of people wanting something from her. But she endured, because Kadric was there, translating political doublespeak, watching her back, keeping her sane, and because Finn was safe, healthy, living in the palace and already making friends with the kitchen staff. On the morning of the coronation, Maris arrived with a dress. Not silk, not elaborate, simple, silver gray, elegant without being ostentatious. The king, former king, chose it, Maris said you'd hate anything too fancy. He was right. He usually is, annoyingly. Maris helped her into the dress. Nervous? Terrified. Good. Means you're taking it seriously. Maris fastened the last button. You ready to become the most powerful wolf in the kingdom? No, but I'm doing it anyway. That's the spirit. The throne room was packed. Every noble who remained, every pack leader, representatives from the common districts, and at the back, pressed against the walls, omegas, dozens of them, come to witness one of their own ascend to power. Alara walked down the center aisle. No guards, no escort, just her. The crowd parted, went silent. At the throne, the remaining council members waited. 3 of them. The others had fled or been arrested alongside Aldrich. In the center stood Kaedric. He wore black. Simple. No crown, no ceremony. When she reached him, he smiled. You look beautiful. You look like you're about to cry. Little bit. The head council member, an elderly woman named Sarah, stepped forward. We are gathered to witness the coronation of Queen Alara Vexley, first of her name, Silver Ash Restored, Guardian of the Realm. Guardian. Not ruler, not tyrant. Alara had insisted. Sarah lifted the crown. Not the old one. That had been melted down. This was new, forged from silver, simple, elegant. Do you swear to protect this kingdom, to serve its people, to uphold justice and mercy in equal measure? I do. Do you swear to honor the past while building a better future? I do. Then by the authority vested in me, and with the blessing of the people, I name you Queen. The crown settled on her head. It was lighter than she expected. The crowd erupted, but Alara barely heard them, because Kaedric stepped forward, took her hand, and kissed it. My queen. Don't, that's weird. Better get used to it. She pulled him closer, whispered so only he could hear. You sure about this? Last chance to change your mind. Not a chance in hell. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing? Especially because of that, he smiled. We'll figure it out together. Promise? Promise. The throne room doors burst open. A guard stumbled in, blood on his armor, panic in his eyes. Your Majesty, the northern border. We're under attack. The celebration died. Alara's hand went to the sword she'd insisted on wearing. Attacked by who? Wolves, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They're bearing the old crest, the one that was banned decades ago. The guard's voice shook. The Bloodstone Pack. They're demanding the throne, claiming the Silver Ash have no right to rule. And they're led by... He stopped, swallowed hard. Led by who? Kaedric's voice was ice. A woman. She calls herself the true heir, says she's Lyanna's daughter. The guard met Kaedric's eyes. Your niece, sire. Come to claim what was stolen from her. The blood drained from Kaedric's face. Alara's mind raced. Lyanna died before she had children. That's what we thought, Kaedric said quietly. But if Aldrich orchestrated her death, if he was working for someone, then maybe she survived long enough to... Alara couldn't finish. To have a child, hidden, raised in secret, waiting for the right moment to strike. Kaedric's expression was carved stone. How long until they reached the capital? 2 days. Maybe less. They're moving fast, and they're not alone. Reports say other packs are joining them. Ones that never accepted your rule, that see this transition as weakness. How many total? 5,000, at least. The throne room erupted in panic. Nobles shouting, council members arguing, guards mobilizing. Alara raised her hand. Silver fire blazed. Silence crashed down. Everyone out, except Kaedric and the council, now. The room cleared in seconds. When only the core group remained, Alara turned to Sarah. How many troops do we have? In the capital? 3,000? Trained, armed, but not enough to hold against 5,000 attackers, especially if they're motivated. Angry. Sarah's expression was grim. We could evacuate, retreat to the southern fortresses, regroup, and abandon the capital, all the people who can't evacuate fast enough? Alara shook her head. No, we stand and fight. Your Majesty, we stand and fight. Her voice was absolute. But we do it smart. What advantages do we have? Kadric stepped forward. The citadel walls, strong, defensible. If we can get the civilians inside and hold the gates, they'll siege us, starve us out. Not if we break the siege from within. Rowan's voice came from the doorway. He'd slipped in during the chaos. We have something they don't. The Silver Queen. You could amplify our forces. Make 3,000 fight like 10,000. I've never done that before, not deliberately. Then you better learn fast. Rowan's smile was grim. Because in 2 days, we're going to need every advantage we can get. Alara looked at Kadric. What do you think? I think this is exactly what we expected. Push back against change, against a silver ash on the throne, against everything we're trying to build. His jaw tightened. And I think we're about to find out if the kingdom is ready for a new kind of queen. And if they're not, then we make them ready. He took her hand. Together. She nodded, turned to the council. Sarah, start evacuation protocols. Get every civilian who can't fight inside the citadel walls. Rowan, start training drills. I want our forces ready to move in 12 hours. And someone get me everything we know about Lyanna's daughter. If she's real, if she's leading this army, we need to know what we're facing. What will you do? Sarah asked. What I always do. Alara's smile was sharp, dangerous. Figure it out as I go. The war room became their home for the next 2 days. Maps covered every surface, reports flooded in hourly. The Bloodstone army was moving faster than expected. More packs joining them, more rage, more desperation, and leading them, confirmed by multiple scouts, was a woman who looked exactly like Lyanna. Same dark hair, same gentle eyes, same smile that Kadric remembered from 30 years ago. Except there was nothing gentle about her now. She's burning villages that won't join her, a scout reported on the second morning. Executing anyone who declares for the Silver Queen. She's not asking for allegiance, she's demanding it. Kadric's hands clenched into fists. Lyanna would never. Lyanna's dead, Alara said quietly. This woman, whoever she is, isn't your sister. She's using her memory as a weapon. I know, but seeing her face, his voice cracked. It's like losing her all over again. Alara's hand found his, squeezed. We'll stop her, I promise. How? We're outnumbered, outmatched. Even with your power, we don't fight them head on. We fight smart. She turned to the map. They expect us to defend the citadel, sit behind walls and wait for the siege, so we don't do that. What do you suggest? Sarah asked. We meet them in the field, before they reach the capital, on ground we choose, and we end this fast, decisively, before more packs join them. That's suicide, one of the council members protested. They'll slaughter us. Not if I'm amplifying our forces. Not if we use strategy instead of just throwing bodies at the problem. Alara's eyes blazed. And not if we offer them something they want more than my head. Kadric's eyes narrowed. What are you planning? Single combat, me versus their leader. Winner takes all, the throne, the kingdom, everything. Absolutely not. It's the fastest way to end this. Minimal casualties, clean resolution. And if you lose? His voice was harsh. If she kills you, then what? Then you were right, and I was an idiot for thinking I could do this. Alara met his eyes. But I'm not going to lose. You can't know that. No, but I can believe it, and right now, that's enough. The room erupted in argument, council members shouting, guards protesting, Sarah trying to restore order. Kadric pulled Alara aside, away from the chaos, into a corner where they could speak privately. This is insane. Most of my plans are. I'm serious. You've been queen for 3 days. You barely know how to use your power. And you want to challenge a woman who's been training for this her entire life? You got a better idea? Yes, we fight together, all of us. We don't put everything on you. And watch thousands of wolves die? Watch the kingdom tear itself apart? She shook her head. No, this is my responsibility, my throne, my fight. It's our fight. You don't get to make that decision alone anymore. Why not? I'm the queen. And I'm your... He stopped, struggled. I'm your whatever the hell I am. Your partner. And that means you don't throw yourself into suicide missions without consulting me first. Fine. I'm consulting you. I'm going to challenge her. What do you think? I think you're going to get yourself killed. But... He ran both hands through his hair, frustrated, terrified. But you're also right. It's the best chance we have, and if anyone can pull off something this stupid... His smile was pained. It's you. So you'll support me? Do I have a choice? Not really. Then yes, I'll support you. I'll stand beside you. And when this goes sideways, and it will, I'll be there to help clean up the mess. That's very romantic. I'm not feeling romantic. I'm feeling like I'm about to watch the woman I love walk into a death trap. She kissed him. Hard. Desperate. The kind of kiss that said this might be the last time without words. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, she whispered against his lips. If I die, you won't. If I do, promise me you'll take care of Finn, make sure he's safe, that he knows Her voice broke. That I loved him, that everything I did was for him. Tell him yourself, after you win. Cedric, promise me. His hands framed her face. Promise me you'll come back, that you'll fight like hell, that you won't give up even if it looks impossible. I promise. Say it again. I promise. Louder, firmer. I'll come back, and we'll figure out this whole queen and consort thing, and we'll rebuild this kingdom into something better. And you'll marry me. The words fell between them like stones. She blinked. What? You heard me. After this. When you win. You'll marry me. Officially. Publicly. None of this consort ambiguity. Full partnership. Equal rule. His eyes burned into hers. Say yes. That's the worst proposal I've ever heard. It's the only one you're getting. Say yes. We don't even have a bond anymore. I don't need a bond to know I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Fighting, building, trying to save a kingdom that probably doesn't deserve us. His smile was soft. Real. Say yes, Elara. Tears burned her eyes. You're such an asshole. Is that a yes? It's a maybe if I survive. I'll take it. He kissed her again, softer this time, like a promise instead of a goodbye. When they finally pulled apart, the war room had gone quiet. Everyone staring. Sarah cleared her throat. Should we give you two a moment? No, we're done. Elara straightened her spine, became queen again. Send word to the Bloodstone Army. I accept their challenge. Single combat. Tomorrow at dawn. The Valley of Thorns. Winner rules the kingdom. And if they refuse, they won't. This is what they want. A chance to kill the Silver Ash pretender and restore what they think is the rightful heir. Her smile was sharp. Let's give them that chance. The council dispersed. Plans set in motion. Messages sent. And Elara stood in the war room, looking at the map, at the valley where tomorrow she'd either win a kingdom or lose everything. Cedric stayed beside her. You ready for this? Not even a little bit. Good. Means you're smart. He took her hand. What can I do? How can I help? Just be there. When I walk into that valley, when I face her, I need to know you're watching, that someone believes I can do this. I'll be there, front row, probably having a heart attack, but there. She laughed, despite everything, despite the fear and the weight and the impossible task ahead. She laughed. I love you, she said. First time she'd said it out loud. I should have told you sooner, before everything went to hell, but I'm telling you now. I love you, bond or no bond, fate or no fate. I choose you. His arms wrapped around her, held her like she was the only thing keeping him anchored to the ground. I love you too. And tomorrow, after you win, we're going to start building the life we both deserve. Promise? Promise. They stood there in the empty war room, holding each other, stealing one last moment of peace before the storm. And outside, the Bloodstone Army drew closer. 5,000 strong, led by a ghost, coming to tear down everything they'd built. Dawn came cold and sharp. Elara dressed in fighting leathers, light armor, no crown, No ceremony, just a queen preparing for war. Finn found her in her chambers as she was strapping on her blade. You're really doing this? Not a question. I have to. No, you don't. You could run. We could disappear, like before, and spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders? No. She turned to face him. This is our chance, Finn. Our chance to have a real home, a real life. I'm not running from that. Even if it kills you? Even then. He hugged her, hard, like he used to when they were kids and the world was crushing them. Don't die. I'll try. That's not good enough. It's all I've got. She pulled back, smiled through the tears burning her eyes. But I'm stubborn and lucky, and I've got something to fight for. That counts for something. It better count for everything. Cedric appeared in the doorway. It's time. Alara nodded, kissed Finn's forehead. Stay in the Citadel, no matter what happens. Maris will look after you. Alara, I love you. Remember that. Then she left. Before she could change her mind, before fear could root her in place. The ride to the Valley of Thorns took 2 hours. They brought 300 wolves, witnesses, guards, in case the Bloodstone army broke the terms of single combat, but mostly for show. To prove the new queen wasn't afraid. The valley appeared on the horizon, wide, flat, ringed by rocky cliffs, perfect for a fight, and waiting on the far side. The Bloodstone army, 5,000 wolves, armed, armored, hungry for blood, and at their front, standing alone, a woman who looked exactly like Lyanna. Cedric's breath caught. Gods, she really does. I know. Alara touched his arm. But she's not your sister. Remember that. I'll try. They rode to the center of the valley, stopped 50 feet from where the woman waited. Up close, the resemblance was even more striking. Same face, same build, same everything, except the eyes. Lyanna's eyes had been kind. This woman's eyes were ice. So, her voice carried across the space. The Silver Ash pretender finally shows her face. And you must be the ghost using a dead woman's name. Alara dismounted. What do I call you? Lyanna? The true heir? Or do you have an actual name? I am Lyanna's daughter. That's all you need to know. Fair enough. I'm Alara, the queen you're trying to overthrow. Queen, the woman laughed. You're a street rat who got lucky, who seduced a king and stole a throne that was never meant for you. Funny. I heard the same thing about you, daughter of a woman who died 30 years ago, conveniently appearing just as the Silver Ash takes power. Suspicious timing. I've been waiting, building strength, gathering allies. The woman's smile was cold, waiting for the right moment to take back what Aldrich stole, what the throne stole. What? Her eyes shifted to Cedric. What my uncle allowed to be stolen. Cedric flinched. You want to blame him for your mother's death? Alara stepped forward. Fine, blame him, but he didn't kill her, Aldrich did, on someone's orders. And I'm guessing, based on your convenient arrival, those orders came from whoever raised you. The woman's expression flickered, just for a second. Alara pressed. Who was it? What pack leader wanted Lyanna dead badly enough to murder her and hide her child? Who's been pulling your strings? No one pulls my strings. Liar. You're what? 30 years old? You've spent your entire life being shaped into a weapon, aimed at the throne, and you don't even know why. I know exactly why. To restore order, to put a true thorn back on the throne, to erase the mistake, she gestured at Alara, of letting a Silver Ash rise. Then let's make this simple. Alara drew her blade. Single combat, right here, right now. You win, you get the throne. I win, your army stands down. Deal? You think you can beat me? I think I'm willing to try. Are you? The woman's smile widened. I'm going to enjoy watching you bleed. We'll see. They moved to opposite ends of the fighting space. No ceremony, no speeches, just 2 women. 2 wolves, 2 claims to power. A horn blew. Fight. The woman shifted immediately. Her wolf was massive, pure black, eyes like winter. Alara hesitated. She'd never shifted in front of anyone. Didn't know if she even could. The black wolf charged. Alara threw herself sideways, rolled, came up with her blade. The wolf spun, snarled. Attacked again. Faster this time. Claws raked across Alara's arm. She hissed, slashed with her blade, caught the wolf across the shoulder. First blood, but not enough. The wolf didn't slow, didn't hesitate. It came at her like a storm. Alara dodged, parried, fought with every technique Rowan had taught her. But she was fighting human against wolf, and she was losing. The black wolf's jaws closed around her shoulder. Bone crunched. Alara screamed. Her blade fell. The wolf threw her. She hit the ground hard, tasted blood, couldn't breathe. Get up. She couldn't. Get up. Her body wouldn't respond. The black wolf stalked closer, victory in its eyes. Across the valley, Kydrick roared, "Alara! Shift! You have to shift!" She tried. Gods, she tried. Reached for that ancient power, that door inside her. It was locked, sealed. The wolf's jaws opened, aimed at her throat. This was it. This was how it ended. And then heat exploded in her chest. Not the bond. That was gone. This was something else, something older. The silver fire. It poured through her system, burning away pain, fear, doubt. And the door inside her didn't just unlock. It shattered. Alara shifted. Not into gray, not into black. Into pure, radiant silver. Her wolf was bigger than the black one. Stronger, eyes blazing like molten metal. The black wolf stumbled back, shocked. Alara didn't give it time to recover. She attacked, fast, brutal, unstoppable. Her jaws found the black wolf's throat. Didn't bite down, just held, dominant, absolute, yield. The command didn't need words. It echoed through power, through presence. The black wolf whimpered, tried to fight. Alara's grip tightened, yield or die. The black wolf went limp, submitted. Alara released her, stepped back, shifted to human, naked, covered in blood and silver light. The woman shifted too, on her knees, gasping. How did you? I'm a silver ash. This is what we do. Alara's voice carried across the valley, to both armies. Your mother was killed by people who feared our power, who wanted to control the throne, and they used you, raised you as a weapon to finish what they started. No, yes, you were never meant to rule. You were meant to die. Taking me with you, leaving the throne weak enough for whoever's been pulling the strings to seize power. Alara crouched down, met the woman's eyes. I'm sorry for what happened to your mother, for what they did to you. But this ends now. What are you going to do? Kill me? No. Alara stood, addressed the Bloodstone army. I'm offering you a choice. Stand down, return to your packs, and help us build something better, or keep fighting, keep dying for a lie. It's up to you. Silence. Then one wolf stepped forward, shifted to human. An older man, scarred, tired. What guarantee do we have? That you won't hunt us? Execute us for treason? You have my word. And Alara looked at Kydrick. You have his. We're not interested in revenge. We're interested in peace, in justice, in making sure what happened to the silver ash never happens to anyone again. The man studied her, long and hard. Then he turned to his army. I'm done. Anyone else? One by one, wolves began to lay down their weapons. Not all of them, maybe half. But it was enough. The woman, Lyanna's daughter, stared at the defection. You're making a mistake. She'll betray you, use you, just like the silver ash always did. Enough! Kydrick's voice cut through her vitriol. You lost. Accept it. I lost because she cheated, used her power to... She used the power she was born with, the power you tried to kill her for having. He looked at her, this ghost of his sister. If Lyanna were here, the real Lyanna, she'd be ashamed of what you've become. The woman's face crumpled, and for just a moment, Alara saw it. Not a weapon, just a girl, raised on lies, used, abandoned, exactly like Alara had been. Come with us, Alara said quietly. Back to the capital. We'll figure out who manipulated you, who killed your mother, and we'll make them pay. Together. Why would you help me? I tried to kill you. Because someone helped me once, when they didn't have to, and it changed everything. She offered her hand. Let me help you. The woman stared at the offered hand. Then slowly, hesitantly, She took it. Alara pulled her to her feet, and the Valley of Thorns, where a kingdom had almost torn itself apart, became the place where it started to heal instead. The ride back to the capital was quiet. Half the Bloodstone army came with them. The rest disbanded, returning to their packs with orders to spread the word. The Silver Queen had won, not through slaughter, through mercy. Cedric rode beside Alara, close enough that their legs brushed with every step. "You shifted," he said quietly. "I did." "Your wolf is big, terrifying, likely to give you nightmares?" "Beautiful." His voice was soft. "You're beautiful. All of you." She looked at him. At this man who'd given up a throne, who'd stood beside her through everything, who'd proposed marriage in a war room and meant every word. "Ask me again." "Ask you what?" "The thing you asked before, in the war room." Understanding dawned. "Marry me." "Yes?" "Just like that?" "Just like that." She smiled. "I'm tired of maybe. I want absolute. I want partnership. I want—" Her voice caught. "I want you, forever, if you'll have me. If I'll—" He laughed, actually laughed. "Alara, I'd have you in any form, any life, any reality, bond or no bond, power or no power, just you." "Then you've got me." He kissed her, right there on horseback, in front of both armies, and the valley behind them echoed with cheers, from wolves who'd been enemies an hour ago, now watching their queen, their impossible, stubborn, brilliant queen, choose love over isolation, choose partnership over power, choose to build instead of burn. When they finally reached the capital, the sun was setting, and waiting at the citadel gates. Finn. Alara dismounted and ran. Her little brother caught her in a hug that nearly broke her ribs. "You're alive." "I'm alive." "You won." "We won." He pulled back, looked at her, then at Cedric, then back at her. "You're really doing this? Queen thing? Marriage thing? All of it?" "All of it." "You're insane." "Probably." She ruffled his hair. "But I'm your insane sister, and you're stuck with me." "Good, because I wasn't planning on going anywhere." They walked into the citadel together, queen and consort, brother and witness, and an army of wolves, former enemies, following behind, ready to build, ready to change, ready to prove that power didn't have to corrupt, that love didn't have to weaken, that a silver ash could wear a crown without becoming the monster everyone feared. Inside the throne room, preparations were already underway, not for a coronation, for a wedding. Because Alara had waited long enough, had fought hard enough, had earned the right to choose happiness alongside duty. And as she stood in the center of the room, Cedric at her side, Finn grinning nearby, former enemies becoming allies, she realized something. She'd started this journey as nothing, a ghost, an omega, a girl everyone overlooked, but she wasn't ending it that way. She was ending it as everything, queen, warrior, sister, partner. And tomorrow, in front of the kingdom she'd fought to save, she'd become one more thing, a wife, to a king who'd given up everything for a chance to stand beside her in the light. The wedding was set for dawn, because Alara refused to wait, refused to give fear or politics or tradition one more second to dictate her life. She'd fought too hard, lost too much, and if she was going to marry the man she loved, she was doing it now, before the world found another way to tear them apart. The throne room had been transformed overnight, silver ribbons hanging from the columns, white flowers scattered across the floor, candles burning in every corner. Simple, elegant, perfect. Maris had outdone herself. Alara stood in her chambers, staring at the dress laid out on the bed. Not elaborate, not the kind of thing queens were supposed to wear, just simple white silk with silver threading along the edges. Something she could move in, fight in if necessary, because she'd learned the hard way that peace was temporary. A knock at the door. "Come in." Cedric entered. He stopped short when he saw her, already dressed, hair loose around her shoulders, the dress fitting like it had been made for her, which it had been, in approximately 6 hours. "You're not supposed to see me before the ceremony," she said. "Since when do we follow tradition?" He closed the door, locked it. "Besides, I needed to talk to you. Before everything starts. Before we stand in front of the kingdom and make promises we can't take back." Her stomach tightened. "Having second thoughts?" "No. Just first thoughts, and second, and about 1,000 others." He crossed to her, took her hands. "I need you to understand something. This morning, what we're doing, it's not just a wedding, it's a statement, a declaration that we're building something new, something that threatens every old power structure in this kingdom. I know that. And people are going to try to stop us, today, tomorrow, every day after. They're going to test us, push us, try to break us apart. Let them try. Elara, I'm serious. The moment we exchange vows, you become more than a queen. You become a target for everyone who wants things to go back to the way they were." His grip tightened. "I can protect you from a lot of things, but I can't protect you from everything, and I need to know you're ready for that, for what comes after the ceremony." She studied his face, the fear there, the love, the absolute certainty that he'd burn the world to keep her safe. "I'm terrified," she said quietly. "Every second, of failing, of losing you, of discovering I'm not strong enough to be what everyone needs me to be." She stepped closer. "But I'm also done running, done hiding. So yes, I'm ready. For all of it, good and bad, easy and impossible. Together? Together." He kissed her, soft, gentle, like she was something precious. When he pulled back, his smile was crooked. "I should let you finish getting ready. Or you could stay. Help me not panic. I'm the reason you're panicking." "No, you're the reason I'm not running." He stayed. They sat by the window as the sky lightened from black to gray to pale gold, not talking, just existing in the same space, breathing the same air. And for a few stolen minutes, they weren't a queen and her consort. They were just two people who'd found each other in the chaos and refused to let go. The bells started ringing at dawn. Time. The throne room was packed. Every noble who remained, every pack leader, representatives from across the kingdom. And at the back, pressed against the walls, commoners, omegas, wolves who'd never been allowed inside these walls before. Come to witness history. Elara walked down the center aisle alone, no escort, no guards, just her. The crowd went silent. Every eye tracked her movement, some with hope, some with fear, some with barely concealed hatred. She ignored them all. Because at the end of the aisle, standing before the throne, was Kaedric. He wore black, simple, no crown, no ceremony. But when he saw her, his expression cracked, raw emotion bleeding through the careful control. Love, awe, terror, relief, all of it written across his face for everyone to see. She reached him, took his offered hand. "You look," his voice caught, "you look perfect. You look like you're about to pass out." Little bit. Sarah stepped forward, the old council member who'd survived the purge, who'd stood with Elara when others fled. She wore ceremonial robes and carried an ancient text. "We are gathered," Sarah's voice carried across the chamber, "to witness the union of Queen Elara Vexley and Lord Kaedric Thorn, not as ruler and subject, but as equals, as partners, as—" She paused, smiled, "as two stubborn wolves who refuse to let tradition dictate their future." Soft laughter rippled through the crowd. "The vows are simple. Speak from the heart, speak the truth, and let the kingdom bear witness." Kaedric went first, his hands wrapped around Elara's, steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "I was dead for 30 years. Walking, breathing, ruling, but dead inside. And then you showed up, broke into my palace, challenged everything I thought I knew, and woke me up." His voice strengthened. "You gave me back my wolf, my purpose, my life. And I swear to you, in front of everyone here, I will spend the rest of my days trying to deserve that gift, to protect you, support you, stand beside you through whatever hell comes next. I choose you today, tomorrow, forever." Silence. Then Elara spoke. "I've spent my whole life being told I was nothing, too weak, too broken, too inconvenient to matter. And I believed it. For years. Until I met you." Her voice was steady, clear. "You saw me when I was invisible, defended me when I was defenseless, Chose me when you could have chosen power, and you taught me something I'd forgotten, that I was worth fighting for, worth protecting, worth— Her throat tightened. Worth loving. So I swear to you, I will build a kingdom worthy of that love. I will fight for the future we both deserve, and I will stand beside you, not because fate demanded it, but because I choose it. I choose you, every day, until my last breath. Kedrick's eyes were wet. So were hers. Sarah raised her hands. Then by the authority vested in me by the old laws and the new, by tradition and by revolution, I declare you bound, partners, equals, united. She smiled. You may kiss your queen, Lord Kedrick. With pleasure. He pulled Alara into his arms and kissed her like it was the first time and the last time and every time in between. The throne room erupted, cheering, roaring, celebrating. And for one perfect moment, everything was right. Everything was— The explosion shattered the eastern wall, stone and fire and screaming. The celebration died in an instant. Alara spun, saw smoke pouring through the gap, saw figures moving in the chaos, saw silver cloaks, dozens of them, flooding into the throne room with weapons drawn and murder in their eyes. Protect the queen! Guards rushed forward, met the attackers in a clash of steel and fury. Kedrick shoved Alara behind him. Get out of here. Like hell! Alara, I'm not running for my own wedding. Another explosion, the western wall this time. More attackers. Coordinated. Planned. This wasn't random. This was assassination. One of the silver-cloaked figures stepped through the smoke. Older, face hidden behind a mask. But his voice— Alara knew that voice. The silver ash dies today, the figure announced, and with her, the false kingdom she's built. He removed his mask. And Alara's world tilted, because she knew this man, had seen him before, in Aldrich's memories, in the projections, in the moment right before everything fell apart, the one who'd ordered Liana's death, the one who'd been pulling strings for decades. You! Kedrick's voice was murder. You're supposed to be dead. Death is negotiable when you have power and patience. The man smiled, cold, reptilian. I am Corvus, last of the old council, and I have been waiting 30 years for this moment. To attack a wedding? How brave. To end what should have been ended centuries ago. The silver ash were a mistake, an abomination, and your ancestors should have finished the purge completely. Corvus gestured. More silver-cloaked wolves moved forward, but they were weak, sentimental, left survivors, who bred, who hid, who waited for their moment to corrupt the throne from within. I'm not corrupting anything. I'm fixing what you broke. You're destroying order, tradition, everything that kept this kingdom stable for 500 years. Corvus's eyes blazed. And I will not allow it. Better to burn it all down than let it fall to silver ash hands. Then burn, Alara's voice was ice. But you'll burn with it. She shifted. Her silver wolf exploded into existence. Massive, radiant, eyes blazing with power. The silver fire erupted around her. Not to attack, to protect. It wrapped around the civilians, the nobles, the wolves who couldn't defend themselves, creating a barrier of light between them and the violence. Corvus laughed. Impressive, but I've been preparing for this. For you, for— Kedrick's black wolf hit him like a freight train. They went down in a tangle of claws and fangs and rage. 30 years of grief finding an outlet, finally, violently. The throne room descended into chaos. Alara's wolf fought through the attackers, not killing, disabling, breaking weapons, breaking bones, creating space for the guards to evacuate civilians. She could feel her power flowing through the defenders, amplifying them, making them stronger, faster. This was what the silver ash were meant to do: protect, defend, empower. A blade found her flank. She snarled, spun, caught the attacker in her jaws and threw him across the room. More came. She met them all. But there were too many. And they kept coming, pouring through the broken walls like a flood. Across the room, Kedrick and Corvus were locked in brutal combat, blood on both of them, neither giving ground, and then a scream, high, terrified, familiar. Alara's wolf spun. Finn. One of the attackers had him, knife to his throat, using him as a shield. No, not him, not after everything. Alara shifted back to human, naked, covered in blood and silver light. Let him go. Drop the power, all of it, or the boy dies. Please. He's just a kid. He has nothing to do with this. He's leverage, and you're going to surrender right now, or I open his throat. Her mind raced. She could attack, could try to reach him before the knife fell, but the distance was too far, the risk too great. She looked at Finn, at her little brother, the reason she'd come to the palace in the first place, the reason she'd fought, survived, become something more. His eyes were wide, terrified. But he shook his head, mouthing words. Don't. Run. Like hell. Okay. Alara raised her hands. Okay. You win. I surrender. Just let him go. The attacker smiled. I thought you might. Finn's elbow drove backward, into the man's ribs. The knife wavered. Alara didn't think, just moved. Her body blurred, silver fire trailing behind her. She closed the distance in a heartbeat. Her hand caught the knife, crushed it. The other hand caught the attacker's throat, lifted him off the ground. You threaten my brother? Her voice echoed strangely, layered, ancient. You use a child as a shield? The man choked, clawed at her grip. She squeezed harder. No mercy, not for you. The silver fire poured into him, not to kill, to show. Every life he'd taken, every order he'd followed, every sin committed in Corvus's name. The crowd could see it all, projected like ghosts across the walls. Villages burned, children murdered, Omegas hunted, all of it. All the darkness that had festered in the shadows while kings and queens pretended not to see. Alara dropped him, let him crumple, gasping, broken. She turned to the remaining attackers. Anyone else? They fled, every single one of them, dropping weapons, running for their lives, because they'd just seen what happened when you threatened a Silver Ash's family. And they wanted no part of it. Across the room, Corvus's laughter echoed, wet, pained. Kaedric's black wolf stood over him, jaws at his throat, one bite away from ending it, but not biting, waiting. Alara walked over, shifted back to her silver wolf, stood beside Kaedric. Together they looked down at the man who'd orchestrated everything, who'd killed Lyanna, who'd tried to destroy them both. Do it, Corvus wheezed. Kill me. Prove you're no better than your ancestors. We're nothing like our ancestors. Alara's voice came through her shifted form. They killed out of fear. We kill only when we have no choice. Then you're weak. No, we're better. She shifted back to human, looked at the guards surrounding them. Arrest him, charge him with everything. Let him stand trial. Let the kingdom see exactly what he's done. Let justice be served in the light instead of the darkness. Corvus's eyes went wide. You can't. A trial will expose everything, the old council, the corruption. I know. That's the point. Alara's smile was sharp. You wanted to burn the kingdom down rather than see it change. Fine. We'll burn it down. But we'll burn the rot, the lies, the systems that allowed people like you to thrive. And from the ashes, we'll build something better. Guards dragged Corvus away. His screams echoed through the broken throne room. Silence fell. Alara looked around, at the destruction, the blood, the bodies of attackers who'd chosen violence over change. And standing in the center of it all, her wedding guests, nobles, commons, Omegas, guards, former enemies who'd become allies, all of them staring at her, covered in blood and silver light, power radiating from every pore. A queen who'd just fought off an assassination attempt on her wedding day, and won. Sarah stepped forward, her ceremonial robes torn, blood on her face, but standing. Well, her voice was dry. That was certainly memorable. Alara laughed, couldn't help it, the absurdity of it all crashing down. I am so sorry. This was supposed to be a celebration. It still is, Sarah gestured to the crowd. You just proved something, to all of them, to the kingdom, that you're not just a silver ash with power. You're a queen who will fight, who will bleed, who will stand between her people and anyone who tries to hurt them. Even on her wedding day, especially on her wedding day. Sarah smiled. Shall we continue? Or would you prefer to reschedule? Alara looked at Kaedric. He'd shifted back to human, blood dripping from cuts across his chest, bruises already forming, but alive, standing. "What do you think?" she asked. "I think we've waited long enough." He walked to her, took her hand. "And I'm not letting anything, not assassins, not collapsed walls, not the end of the world, stop me from finishing what we started. Even though we're both covered in blood, especially because of that. We fought together, survived together. Seems appropriate we get married covered in proof of it." Sarah cleared her throat. "Then by the authority still vested in me despite the attempted murder, and in the presence of witnesses who are definitely going to remember this day." She raised her hands. "I declare you bound, married, united against literally everything." The crowd cheered, not as loud as before, but deeper, more real, because they'd just watched their queen fight for them and win. Cedric kissed Alara, and this time it tasted like blood and smoke and victory. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he whispered against her lips, "Welcome to forever." "It's going to be hell." "Probably, but we'll face it together." "Promise?" "Promise." Boot. The aftermath took weeks. Corvus's trial was public. Brutal. Every crime laid bare for the kingdom to see. Every lie exposed. Every corruption burned away in the light of truth. He was executed at dawn 3 weeks after the failed assassination. Alara didn't attend. Couldn't. The thought of watching another death, even one deserved, made her sick. Cedric went in her place, stood as witness, made sure it was done cleanly, quickly. When he came back, he held her while she cried for reasons she couldn't explain. Maybe for Liana. Maybe for all the lives Corvus had destroyed. Maybe just for the weight of carrying a kingdom on shoulders that still felt too small for the task. But Cedric was there. Through all of it, steady, patient, unshakable. The kingdom began to heal, slowly, painfully. But healing. The old council was dismantled completely, replaced with a new system, representatives from every district, every class. Omega voices finally heard alongside Alpha dominance. It wasn't perfect, nothing ever was, but it was better. Liana's daughter, who'd finally given them her real name, Mira, stayed in the capital, working with Alara to root out the remaining corruption, to find others who'd been manipulated, used. They became unlikely friends. 2 women raised as weapons, learning to be human instead. Finn thrived, grew stronger every day, started training with the guards, talking about maybe becoming a healer instead of a fighter. Alara supported whatever he chose, as long as he was safe, happy, free. The thing she'd never had growing up. And at night, when the meetings ended and the politics quieted and the weight of the crown became too much, she had Cedric. They'd moved into new chambers, rebuilt after the attack. Simpler than the old royal quarters. More windows, more light, more like a home than a fortress. "You're thinking too loud," Cedric said one night. They were lying in bed, his arms around her, her head on his chest. "I can hear it from here. Just wondering if we're doing the right thing, all these changes, all this upheaval." "Having doubts? Always, don't you?" "Every single day." His hand traced patterns on her back. "But then I look at what we're building, at the Omegas who don't have to hide anymore, at the kids who are growing up in a kingdom that values them instead of using them, and I think maybe, just maybe, we're getting it right. Or maybe we're destroying everything and it'll all collapse. Then we'll rebuild, again, as many times as it takes." "You make it sound simple." "It's not. It's impossibly complicated. But you make it possible." He pressed a kiss to her hair. "You make everything possible." She tilted her head up, met his eyes. "I love you. You know that, right?" "I know. You tell me every day." "Good, because I'm going to keep telling you, for the rest of our lives, until you're sick of hearing it. Never going to happen. You say that now. Wait until we're old and gray and I'm still waking you up at dawn to tell you I love you. Looking forward to it." His smile was soft, real. Every single day. They lay there in comfortable silence. 2 people who'd found each other in chaos, who'd chosen each other against impossible odds, who were building a future one difficult day at a time. And outside their window, the kingdom slept. Healing, growing, changing. Not perfect, not painless, but better. Always better. 6 months later, Alara stood on the balcony overlooking the city. The same balcony where Kadric had first seen her, where his wolf had woken up, where everything had started. So much had changed since then. The citadel had been rebuilt, stronger, more open, with gardens where there used to be guard posts, schools where there used to be armories. The city below thrived, markets full, streets safe, Omegas walking freely instead of hiding in shadows. It wasn't paradise. Crime still happened, conflict still arose, people still struggled, but they struggled in a kingdom that actually tried to help instead of just using them. There you are. She turned. Kadric stood in the doorway. He'd been in meetings all morning, looked exhausted. Done already? Escaped. There's a difference. He crossed to her, wrapped his arms around her from behind. What are you doing out here? Just thinking. About? About how different everything is. How 6 months ago I was a ghost, nobody. And now you're a queen, a legend, the wolf who changed everything. I'm still just me. Still the girl who broke into a palace to steal medicine. No, you're more than that. He turned her around, made her look at him. You're the woman who refused to stay down, who fought when everyone said you'd lose, who chose love over power and somehow managed to keep both. His smile was fierce, proud. You're extraordinary, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never forget it. Even when I make mistakes, when I fail, especially then. Because failure doesn't make you less. It makes you real, human. And that's what this kingdom needs, not a perfect queen, a real one. Tears burned her eyes. When did you get so wise? I married up. Some of it rubbed off. She laughed, kissed him, and felt the familiar warmth of connection, not the bond. That was still gone. But something deeper, something chosen, love, partnership, choice, better than fate could ever be. I have news, she said when they broke apart. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. She took a breath. I'm pregnant. Kadric went completely still. You're about 6 weeks. The healers confirmed it this morning. Her hand went to her stomach, still flat, but carrying something precious. I know we didn't plan it. I know there's still so much chaos, but he kissed her, hard, desperate, joyful. When he pulled back, his eyes were wet. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. A silver ash baby. The first one born in freedom in 500 years. Terrifying, right? Absolutely. He laughed. Actually laughed. And perfect. And exactly what we need. You think the kingdom's ready for it? I think the kingdom better get ready. Because our child... He pressed his hand over hers, over the life growing inside her. Our child is going to inherit a world we rebuilt. A world where power doesn't corrupt, where omegas aren't garbage, where love matters more than bloodlines. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone who's currently the size of a grape. They're your kid. They can handle it. Alara rested her head against his chest, listened to his heartbeat, steady, strong, real. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For seeing me. When I was invisible. For choosing me. When you could have chosen anyone. For... Her voice cracked. For giving me a life worth living. You gave yourself that life. I just got to be part of it. He held her closer. And I'm going to spend every day trying to deserve it. They stood there on the balcony, king and queen, husband and wife, soon to be parents. And below them, the kingdom hummed with life, with possibility, with the promise of something better. Not perfect, never perfect, but better than it had been, better than anyone thought possible. And in the distance, just visible on the horizon, silver light dancing across the sky like aurora, the spirits of the silver ash, watching, approving, finally at peace, because their legacy wasn't death anymore, wasn't fear, wasn't genocide. It was life, love, a future built on hope instead of hate. Alara felt them, their presence, their blessing. And for the first time since discovering what she felt complete, not because of power, not because of a crown, Not because of destiny or fate or any force outside herself, but because she'd chosen. Every step, every fight, every impossible decision, she'd chosen to stand, to fight, to love. And in doing so, she'd become something the world had never seen. Not just a queen, not just a silver ash, not just a survivor, but all of it, together, woven into something new, something powerful, something gentle, something that would endure long after she was gone. A legacy worth leaving. Ready to go back inside? Baka, Kadric asked. We should probably tell Finn he's going to be an uncle before he finds out from the gossip mill. He's going to lose his mind. Probably, but in a good way. Yeah, in a good way. They walked inside together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next, because they'd survived the impossible, the assassination attempts, the wars, the revelations, everything the world had thrown at them, and they'd come through it stronger, together, not because fate demanded it, not because a bond forced them, but because they'd chosen each other, every single day, through blood and fire and silver light, and they'd keep choosing each other for the rest of their lives. Building a kingdom, raising a child, creating something beautiful from the ashes of something broken. It wouldn't be easy, nothing worthwhile ever was, but it would be real. It would be theirs. It would be, hey, Finn appeared in the hallway, looking suspicious. Why are you two being weird? Elara smiled. Define weird. That smile, that's your, I have news that's going to change everything smile. I know that smile. He crossed his arms. What happened? Did someone try to kill you again? Because I swear if I have to fight off another assassin, no assassins, promise. She glanced at Kadric. He nodded. But we do have news. Big news. How big? You're going to be an uncle. Finn's eyes went wide. We're... He looked between them. Are you serious? Very serious. That's amazing. He rushed forward, hugged Elara so hard she gasped. You're going to be an incredible mom. And you... He pointed at Kadric. You better take care of them, both of them, or I'll fight you myself. Noted. Finn pulled back, grinning so wide his face might split. A baby. We're having a baby. I mean, you're having a baby. But this is... He stopped, took a breath. I love you, both of you, so much. We love you too, Elara said, always. And standing there in the rebuilt palace, in the kingdom they'd fought to save, in the life they'd chosen to build, Elara Vexley, once nothing, once rejected, once invisible, felt something she'd never felt before. Home. Not a place, not a building, not even a kingdom, but the people around her, the love surrounding her, the future spreading out like an open road. That was home. That was everything. And it was enough. Years later, when historians wrote about the Silver Queen's reign, they would focus on the reforms, the justice, the way she'd transformed a broken kingdom into something resembling functional. But those who'd lived through it, who'd watched her rise from nothing, they remembered something different. They remembered a woman who'd chosen love over power, who'd fought not because she wanted to rule, but because she wanted to protect, who'd proven that strength didn't mean dominance, that queens could be vulnerable, that omegas could be powerful. They remembered the way she'd walked through the markets, talking to common wolves like equals, listening to problems, actually solving them. They remembered the way she'd held her daughter, a perfect silver wolf cub, and whispered promises about a world where bloodlines didn't matter, where power served instead of controlled, where love was the highest law. They remembered her husband, the king who'd given up his throne to stand beside her, who'd never once tried to take back the power he'd surrendered, who'd chosen partnership over dominance every single day. And they remembered the moment, decades later, when age finally caught up to them both. When the Silver Queen lay in bed, surrounded by children and grandchildren, with her king holding her hand. Not a bad life, she'd whispered, voice weak but eyes bright, for a ghost who was supposed to be nothing. You were never nothing, he'd whispered back, not for one single second. Maybe, but I believed I was, until you showed me different. We showed each other. She'd smiled, squeezed his hand. Thank you for everything, for seeing me, for loving me, for getting to spend my life with you. He'd pressed his lips to her forehead. Best decision I ever made. Even when I drove you crazy? Especially then. She'd closed her eyes, surrounded by love, by family, by proof that she'd mattered. And when the silver light finally came to take her home, she went peacefully, knowing she'd done what she'd set out to do, changed the world, protected the ones she loved, built something that would last. Not a bad legacy. For a girl who'd started with nothing, not bad at all. But that ending was still decades away. For now, in this moment, Ilara stood in her chambers, Kadric beside her, Finn making plans for being the best uncle ever, a child growing inside her, a kingdom healing around her. And she thought about the girl she'd been, 6 months ago, a year ago, her whole life before this. That scared, broken Omega who'd believed she was nothing, and she wished she could go back. Tell that girl what was coming. Tell her to hold on, that everything, all the pain, all the fear, all the impossible struggles would lead to this, to love, to family, to a life worth living. But she couldn't go back, could only move forward. So she made a different promise, to herself, to the child she carried, to every Omega who'd ever felt invisible. She promised to remember, to never forget where she'd come from, to use her power to lift instead of crush, to build instead of destroy, to be the queen she'd needed when she was nothing, and standing there, surrounded by the people she loved, in the kingdom she'd helped save, with a future spreading out before her like silver fire. Ilara Vexley smiled, because she'd finally figured out the truth. She'd never been nothing, she'd always been everything. She just hadn't known it yet. And now, finally, she did.